here. But you have won here at Loudon before. What do you have to do to win here today?
Well, Ralph, I think is a big question mark for everybody, really. We're not really sure the restrictor plate's going to change the way the race is run. It's going to change the way you pass traffic, work traffic. We were really ran well yesterday afternoon. I think we're as quick as anybody, but just a big question mark on how the traffic's going to flow.
Eli, he will start 19th today.
And the speeds are about 5 to 6 miles an hour off what they have been previously. By the way, if you're curious, there's the list of fellas who have never won a NASCAR Winston Cup Series point race, led by Michael Waltrip, winless in 453 starts in actual point events. But you'll notice one gentleman whose name is not on that list any longer is Steve Park, the winner at Watkins Glen a few weeks ago, and that took a big load off of his shoulders, Glenn.
It absolutely did, Eli. That was his 77th Winston Cup career start that he got that win. And he's been very competitive since then. He's had 3 top 5s in his last 5 races. And I guarantee you, nothing would please you better than to pick up that second victory in here in front of your New England fans.
Without a doubt, Glenn. And New York's my home state, but New Hampshire's considered my home track. So to get our second win up here would be just a dream come true. And I owe it to all these fans. We've won a lot of races up here in the modifieds and the Busch North Series, and to top that all off with a win here in the Winston Cup car is what it's all about. So we're pretty excited about it. We've got a good race car here with the Pennzoil car. We just need to try to keep it out front today.
Well, he starts from 6th position today, Eli.
Could win from there. Hey, folks, you can log on to TNNRacing.com for our exclusive free online webcast of today's NASCAR Winston Cup race from here in New Hampshire. And if you'd like, you can ride along with 6 in-car cameras, including point leader Bobby Labonte, or listen live to radio communication between the crews and the drivers on our free fan scan feature. That is TNNRacing.com. Dick Berggren and the Dawn Patrol next.
Ken Squire bidding you welcome to the biggest racing day in New England history.
Green flag. Mark Martin leads them into 1. Rusty's going to come off turn 4 to score his 26th career victory.
The fans going wild. Ernie Irvan, he's back in victory lane. And look at the celebration in the Texaco Hamilton pit area.
He's in trouble.
He's in trouble. Stewart is running out of fuel. Stewart is
going back and forth.
Some of the memorable moments here at New Hampshire International Speedway, moments that played out during the last number of years on our live coverage here on TNN Sports. But as much as the action has changed, one thing has not changed. A standard part of our pre-race coverage, Dick Berggren in the garage and the Dawn Patrol.
In the wake of 2 fatal accidents here, last week NASCAR mandated the use of restrictor plates to slow the cars down. Restrictor plates had never been used on Winston Cup cars at New Hampshire or even a track like this, and that has opened wide the gates of the great unknown. Teams have struggled with engine combinations, chassis setups, transmissions, and gear choices. Engines are down 300 horsepower. As a result, fuel mileage is up. Some teams can go 25 laps further than ever before. Some adapted Daytona engines to here. Others adapted unrestricted engines to a plate. Everyone is running a combination they never ran before. Talk in the garage today is that the race could go to someone experienced and successful in cars with less power. NASCAR Busch Series cars, someone like Mark Martin. The advantage could go to those who have expended extraordinary effort, like Steve Park and Jeff Burton, who tested at a similar track in Milwaukee. All hope that their car will be fastest, but mostly all hope that the race will be safe. Just let them race safe.
Everybody echoes a big amen to that. Let them race safely. When we come back, one final run through the pits as TNN makes its final visit to New Hampshire. On the occasion of this network's final telecast from New Hampshire International Speedway, network president David Hall named as the Grand Marshal. He'll be giving the command to fire the engines here in just about 10 or 12 minutes from right now. Welcome back as we get set to go racing. Let's make one final run through the pit lane and find out who's got what to talk about. Glenn Jarrett, what's the late breaking news?
Well, thanks, Eli. Robbie Loomis, Jeff Gordon's crew chief, told me just a while ago that everybody is fighting a very, very tight condition. It's always hard to make the cars turn here at New Hampshire, but with restricted power, it's even tougher coming up off the corners to get the car to turn down. They don't have the power in the rear wheels to make the car go straight down the straightaway up off the corners. That's a problem they're fighting. They have put a lot of adjustment into their car today, hoping that they can combat that. It's cool, it's cloudy, it's going to be worse. They're hoping that Hurricane Gordon will come in here early to New Hampshire and blow the competition away. Here's Ralph Shaheen.
Glenn, I spoke to Larry McReynolds, crew chief for Mike Skinner this morning, and he said we can expect a lot of two-tire pit stops here today. In fact, he said they went out and scuffed some tires for qualifying, and the lefts weren't even touched, so much so that this sticker right here that comes on every brand new tire wasn't even worn off the left front tire after 2 laps here at New Hampshire. Mike Hogwood?
A lot of teams have spent this weekend scrambling. One team that has not has been the team of Sterling Marlin. He's the fastest Chevrolet. He starts 3rd. He says they just made some educated guesses coming here, and so far every guess has worked out correct. He's hoping for his best finish of the year today. Eli?
So that's the story from the pit lane. When we come back, we're going racing for 300 suspense-filled miles. The Dura Lube 300 presented by Kmart next. The following is a special presentation of TNN Sports. One track, 2 eerily similar incidents, 2 young stars gone. Questions are raised.
We know what we need to do. My answer to that is strap your butt in there at 220 mile an hour in a straightaway and have something go wrong and hit the wall head on and tell me if you like to have some cushion down there. Well, I tell you, I would.
Soft wall technology used at other tracks is tested, but without closure. Kill switches are installed. Various safety measures tried, but once again the monster raises its ugly head. An announcement is made.
We know how to slow cars down. We've done it at Daytona and Talladega for the same reason, where the cars became too fast for the track. And we know how to do that, and we do that with restrictor plates.
The dreaded plate is bolted on. Opinions fly.
I don't know how it'll work.
I think that's a good idea.
If you hit the wall at 160 or 180 and me, you know, it don't matter. Let's go up there and go race and see what happens.
Engine builders spring into action and burn the midnight oil in the push to squeeze research, development, and production into a scant few days.
Yeah, we know we have to build something kind of in between what we've always built, so we just kind of, I mean, you have no time to do it, so it's pretty much a stab in the dark.
So many questions, so much at stake. 43 teams are poised to enter the unknown.
Friday morning, the rains came to Loudon. Early practice and qualifying were washed out. The tension began to build. Late Friday, the cars were on the track, but 15 minutes into the practice session, they were back into the garage making changes. There were no rear-end gears left in the shops at home. They were all brought here to Loudon. It's been a long, tough weekend searching for the right combination. It's obvious that the old setups just won't work. Is the right shock combination on the car? What about the gearing? Have the changes they've been made, are they made correctly? Well, we won't know until that green flag flies in just a few minutes.
Bobby Labonte's pole speed is some 6 miles an hour slower than they were when they were here in July. But watch Bobby as he goes down into turn number 3, driving the car some 60 yards deeper into the corner before he lifts off to the gas. The apex of the corner for him is even tighter and faster, and he does not have to walk the car out to the wall anymore. They just plant their foot straight to the floor and drive down the next straightaway. So the corner speeds here now are quicker. We talked to 43 other drivers up and down pit road. All of them have a different way of driving with the restrictor plate.
The old New Hampshire bump and run. Drivers hate it, except when they get to do the bumping, then it becomes fun. Well, I tell you what, you're probably going to see a lot more of it today than we ever have here at Loudon in the past. The reason? Restrictor plate racing. The cars have way less horsepower than what they had before, so the drivers are really going to have to earn their keep today and drive hard. They'll use any measure that they can to try to gain an advantage on the guy in front of him, and once they take that position, they'll hang on to it, because if you lose track position here at Loudon, it's going to be tough to get it back today. This is going to be fun.
The NASCAR Winston Cup teams have come to New Hampshire. The Dura Lube 300, sponsored by Kmart. We've got 3 hours of racing coming up, suspense-filled to say the very least. We are now set to go down trackside for the command to fire the engines. The Grand Marshal, the president of TNN, our boss, the peerless potentate of programming, David Hall, with the command to fire the engines.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Certainly a lot is unknown today. But one thing that is known, Bobby Labonte wants another consistent finish, if not a victory, to further pad his lead atop the NASCAR Winston Cup point standings. Hi, everybody. I'm Eli Gold. Temperatures in the 40s as we welcome you to New Hampshire International Speedway, 300 miles, and for the first time outside of Daytona or Talladega, we've got restrictor plates on these NASCAR Winston Cup cars. Buddy Baker, how much are all of these rule changes messing with the drivers' minds right now?
I guarantee you it's messing with them, and they're worried, but that's their job. Drivers worry about things. The one thing they want to be competitive. If they're competitive, they don't care how fast the car runs, but they want to be in the fight. That's what they're worried about right now.
Now, Dick Berggren, you and I have spent time in the garage. It's interesting. You talk to 10 guys, you get 10 different opinions, mixed emotions, certainly, down there.
Oh, absolutely. Well, race drivers never like to have horsepower taken away, not ever, and they've lost a good bit of horsepower here. But everybody wanted to see something done. NASCAR privately, secretly tested soft walls with unmanned cars. Here, they decided that the foam blocks weren't the answer. Restrictor plates were. The drivers are glad that something was done, and everybody hopes that today will be a safe race.
Now, because winter has settled upon New England prematurely, they're going to take a while warming up the cars, then give them a few more extra pace laps to make sure all is in readiness. We thank you for being with us on TNN. Back for the green after this. TNN Sports live coverage of the VerisRacing.com Dura Lube 300, sponsored by Kmart, is being brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. By Wide Track Pontiac Grand Prix, proud sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team. And by the new Midas. We're a whole new way to keep a good thing going. As the field now makes their warm-up laps, not just the normal pace laps, Dick Berggren, but these laps now serve a different purpose here at New Hampshire.
The drivers have all been told, use your brakes in these practice warm-up laps. Get the brakes heated up. Make sure that your brakes are working before the green flag drops.
Now let's take a look at the Big K starting grid, sponsored by Big Kmart, where NASCAR fans race for savings. First Pontiac pole at New Hampshire, Bobby Labonte. A 3-time winner here, Jeff Burton. Sterling Marlin, first top 5 qualifying since last year at Pocono. And Dale Jarrett, his best New Hampshire starting spot, was second here. Here's Rusty Wallace and Steve Park having a great second half after that win at Watkins Glen. Elliott Sadler, 4th top 10 start of the year. Jerry Nadeau finished 4th here in July. Ken Schrader and Mike Bliss, a career best. Hey, buddy, we're starting to see some names up front now that you don't always expect to see.
Well, I think you are running into a simple thing. A lot of people have great plate programs, and they're using some of the things they used at Talladega and Daytona, so it's showing up here at New Hampshire.
Mark Martin and Tony Stewart. Jeremy Mayfield next in line with 2 wins this year, and last week's winner, Jeff Gordon. Ricky Rudd, he won here back in '94. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. with 2 wins this season. Take a look at the rest of the starting field. Bill Elliott, Brett Bodine, Mike Skinner. He's run here in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series competition. And Stacy Compton. It will be interesting to see as we watch the rest of the field, those who tested earlier this week when the rules came out about the restrictor plate. Guys who went, for instance, to Milwaukee in the middle of the week and tested on that flat track.
Steve Park, Jeff Burton both went to Milwaukee. Kenny Wallace took his car down to Greenville Pickens, and the number 3 Earnhardt's car was also run down there by Kevin Harvick.
There's Dale Earnhardt. 10 restrictor plate race wins. Robert Presley and Dave Blaney. You know, we talk about restrictor plate race wins, but is it really right to put this track in the same category with Daytona and Talladega just because you have a restrictor plate on the car?
Well, let's just talk about some of the changes that they will experience today. Not as many RPMs as when you don't have the plate. The horsepower range is completely different, so there's a lot of unanswered questions as to reliability of the plate motor itself.
The two fellows who failed to qualify, Steve Grissom and Dave Marcus.
May hear a little bit different sound here today as well. Many of the teams are using what's called a Dr. Gas exhaust system. We don't ordinarily see that on a 1-mile track, but we're accustomed to seeing it and hearing it at Daytona and Talladega.
Take a look at the Ford track description, sponsored by Ford. Great innovations, the greatest traditions. And, buddy, because of the long straights and the tight turns and the numbers that changed and torque and what have you, we're going to start seeing at least one driver we know of do some shifting out there today.
Quite a few of them will when the race first starts. I think in tight traffic they will be shifting just like a road course. They drop down to about 5,800 in the corners here, only come back up to about 8,000 at the end of the straightaway. So the power curve is not there that they're normally using. So they have to shift coming out of the corners to get them going really good off the corner and then shifting down the straightaway.
Robert Presley is one of those who'll be carrying the onboard cameras for us today. Others include Ward Burton. We expect to see him going through that gearbox. Bill Elliott and the McDonald's team giving us the lift around the Magic Mile. Ricky Rudd, top 10 in points. He's 7th with no wins, as you heard from Ralph earlier in the pre-race show. Bobby Hamilton going away from Morgan McClure Racing at the end of this season.
Yeah, and that's a team that really does well with restrictor plate racing, and Hamilton has been quick in practice.
And Bobby Labonte, our NASCAR Winston Cup Series point leader and the man who starts up front here for this 300-lap event. 317.4 miles. The track measures 1.058 miles around. Now, we are so glad you're with us from New Hampshire on TNN Sports. Testing was the story that paid off. Who knows? But Jeff Burton shoots to the front and takes the lead here at New Hampshire. The 17th race he has led this year. That's the most of any driver on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit. And he has now led the last 6 races in a row. As there's that bump and go that Glenn Jarrett was talking about earlier.
Yeah, and you see it being used very early in the race. Dropping back right now, it's Dale Jarrett. He's lost about 4 or 5 spots here. Here comes Rusty Wallace up beside him. They make a little contact there in the center part of the corner. And down the straightaway there, what happened there, I think he just got on the outside, lost the preferred line around the racetrack. And you see right there getting in the corner, he just gives way and drops to the bottom, trying to utilize that lower lane.
Now, folks, we will tell you that the laps that you're seeing are taking roughly 2 seconds longer to complete now than they have here in the past. Tough to tell, if virtually impossible by the naked eye. But look at that good second place battle. Park in the 1, the blue and white 25, Jerry Nadeau.
Both of those guys could use the same racer for 3 weeks. They're really young guys, and they're very aggressive. You see the younger, aggressive drivers going towards the front right now, not worrying about the big picture, just going for the win.
This guy Park American, the #1 car, that yellow Pennzoil car, has really come on in the last few weeks. He's got a total of 4 career top 5s, 3 of them in his last 5 starts, and 1 of them was a win.
A 1.5-second lead for Burton over Nadeau, who started 8th and has moved up to 2nd. That's the battle for 3rd.
Bobby Labonte has to be very careful there. He has the preferred line, but you see he's being very careful not to jump in there going in the corner. Now he gets that good run up off the corner, and he and Steve Parker side by side down the back straightaway.
Sterling Marlin and that number 40 machine waiting and watching.
He could be a sleeper today. Sterling in that number 40 car. He's got 6 career wins, 5 of them with restrictor plates.
Of course, much of his success in his days with Morgan McClure Racing, when he had those Runt-Pittman power plants that were so spectacular on super speedways.
Yeah, I talked to his crew chief, Scott Eggleston, this morning, and Scott said, you know, I can't remember the last time that he twice in one day has said, I've got a good car. Sterling has got a very good race car for this event, maybe the best car he's had all year long.
Eli, we were talking about nobody can pass. Well, quite a few people are passing right now, and it looks like as good a race as I can remember here in New Hampshire. They're side by side here, trading paint, they're trading positions every lap.
At the back of that pack of traffic, you'll find Jeff Gordon, who's moved from 18th up to 12th spot. There he is at the extreme end of that line. That good battle ongoing for 3rd and 4th at the head of that field. Not to overdose you on technical numbers, but I know that many of you are technically inclined. Rick Mast was telling me that his horsepower numbers now are still less than what he had in his V6 Buick. When he won here in the Busch race back in 1990, he had 515 horsepower. Most teams now getting 485 to 490. But, buddy, you can explain this too. What many of the teams are talking about are the torque numbers that here are usually 510. They're now down to 360.
Well, and that's why they can't turn them up like they do when they have the full amount of air and fuel going into the motor. And it's changed the power curve totally. It's done away with the torque that you normally, when you get back in the throttle, you just jump up out of the corner. As a matter of fact, you can't get wide open back in the throttle till you get way out as you start out of the corner. Now you just jump back in.
But there's the leader breaking away right now by 1 8/10 seconds. Jeff Burton showing the way early here in New Hampshire. Jeff Burton continues to lead, and a quick reminder, folks, you can log on to TNNRacing.com for our exclusive free online webcast of today's race here in Loudon, New Hampshire. You can ride along with our in-car cameras, including point leader Bobby Labonte, and listen in to the radio communication from the crews to the drivers. It is free on our fan scan feature, all at TNNRacing.com. That is 11th spot up for grabs right now. Jeff Gordon in the 24, Park in the 1. Give Gordon the spot. And, you know, they are driving more deeply into the corners now than ever before. The cornering speeds are up. I don't think it's a question.
They absolutely are. I mean, they're going in deeper, but they pick up the throttle sooner as well, and that is what's picking up the corner speeds. You know, given that they've lost 300 horsepower in qualifying, they were really legitimately only a couple of miles an hour off the track record. So you have to make it up somewhere. They were losing it on the straightaways.
Eli, and also, if you'll notice the pattern through the corner, they're running right on the yellow line on the bottom part of the racetrack there, the preferred line, right around the bottom. In the past, you could see them go way out in the center part of the corner to make them stick. They're not carrying so much speed in the corner now that they can't hug the bottom.
The 11 is Brett Bodine. Bill Elliott shoving him along in the 94. That Bell South machine, that's Ted Musgrave, who rumor says is right there ready at the top of the list to hang on to that ride for next year.
We were with Elliott a moment ago, and for those of you who like technology, interesting engine strategy on his car. Tony Santana Cola, the motor man, set up a Daytona Talladega engine to qualify. That's got light rods, light pistons, light crank, light everything. but for the race, they pulled that engine out. They put a New Hampshire engine in, but they put the top of a Daytona and Talladega engine in. Cylinder heads, valve tray, intake manifold, and so forth. So a lot of treachery from these mechanics.
That could be an oil slick later on, because what that means when we talk about changing the valve springs and stuff like that, lighter components, where at Daytona you don't have a lot of horsepower, so you have to keep the momentum up in the motor, and that means lighter parts.
It's even like the stuff you'd run for the Winston at Charlotte versus something different you'd run at the same track for 600 miles the next week.
Exactly, almost the same as a sewing machine at home or one that they use in commercial use. There's a lot of difference.
1.8 seconds is the lead up front. Jeff Burton is checked out for the moment. That's why we're giving you these shots middle of the pack. I'll tell you something. We have not seen this type of racing, tight pack side by side, as a regular menu here at New Hampshire. A lot of folks said, well, what are we going to see? Who knows? We're seeing some pretty good battles here, 18 miles, 19 miles in.
And as the week wore on, a lot of the drivers, including those who didn't like the fact they'd lost all their horsepower, were saying this was just the kind of race we were going to get. They predicted we were going to see an outside line that was just as fast as the inside. For Earnhardt, it's faster by the looks of it.
Talked about Rick Mast earlier. Let's see where his numbers are.
Well, I just noticed down the front straightaway, he turned 81, 8200 max down the front straightaway. About 5,900 in the center part of the corner. Now he starts down the back straightaway. Watch the RPMs go up. 138, 143. About 143 down the back straightaway. And actually dropping down to 5,700 in the center part of the corner there.
Rick's in that green Conseco number 14. He and I talked on the telephone on Wednesday of this week. If not Thursday, I've forgotten which now. We're kind of calling a different bunch of teams, getting some engine numbers. And he said that on the dyno, his horsepower numbers were off by 260 from the norm.
And the interesting thing about that car is they had nothing in-house for a restrictor plate. Right. They leased their restrictor plate motors for Daytona Talladega, couldn't get one from here, so David Evans worked magic on that thing, putting this plate motor together for this event.
Let's compare the numbers we saw from Rick Mast to the 33 for Joe Nemechek.
Okay, he's starting off the third turn and going down the back straightaway. Let's just look and see what he's turning at. 82, 8,300, I thought.
That's pretty good RPM for a restrictor plate motor here.
Nemechek running in 21st spot. Glenn Jarrett, what about fuel numbers now? You know, some guys were jokingly telling us they were going to make it a one pit stop race. I don't see any way that could happen. But how will the numbers change from what we're used to seeing?
Oh, they'll change dramatically, Eli. It used to be that you know, you might get 100 laps here, but now they're talking 120, 125 laps. The biggest question is the tire wear. Will the tires stand it? With the cars running slower speeds, obviously a little slower through the turns, and not having all that speed carrying into the turns to grind that rubber off. How will the tires wear? I think that's going to be the biggest thing. They may have to pit for tires long before fuel, but I don't expect anybody to pit really if this thing goes green before lap 120, 125.
Well, folks, I guess the bottom line is if you're into tires, you've got something to watch today. If you're into fuel mileage, you got something to cipher on. If you're into engine power and performance, we've got numbers for you. That's what this whole day is going to be about, as everybody waits to see how the 300 miles here at New Hampshire unfold. Jeff Burton is the leader by a second and a half on Jerry Nadeau. Bobby Labonte third, Rusty Wallace fourth, Sterling Marlin is running fifth. There is the race leader here at New Hampshire International Speedway. Jeff Burton by 1 6/10 seconds took the lead on lap number 1. You know, he was interesting too. Burton posted finishes of 25th or worse in each of his first 3 Winston Cup races here, and then since then he has the 3 wins. He has 6 top 5, so his fortunes really turned around after stinking up the joint in the first 3 races. He couldn't do anything wrong here the last few times out.
Yeah, you know what's really interesting about this guy? Traditionally, he is an absolutely horrible qualifier.
Yeah.
He's been through virtually his whole career with only 1 pole, and then boom, last week at Richmond he gets a pole. Here he starts in 2nd spot. But you know, you start and take a look at his whole year, look at the number of cars he's passed based on where he's finished and where he started. I totaled it up. Since the green flag at Daytona, this guy has passed 292 cars.
Well, he should have gotten it right by now, then.
Yeah, he did.
No,
he got it right now.
You would think. There you see him passing moments ago. Kenny Wallace, the first driver to go a lap down. Pick out where your favorites are running. The folks from Napa bringing you NASCAR timing and scoring there in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. NapaOnline.com, where everything great about Napa is now available online. Ralph Shaheen is on pit road.
Well, Steve Park's a pretty frustrated race car driver right now, Eli. He has just passed Kenny Schrader to take over 13th position, but he's having a real tough time getting the car to do what he wants to do. And on top of that, of course, he feels, as he's saying to the crew over the radio, like he has no power to help overcome any handling difficulties that he has right now. The team doing everything they can to keep Steve pumped up, to keep him charging to the front.
You know, it's interesting. A lot of these fellows, though, who have had NASCAR Busch Series experience are running pretty well here. Jeff Burton, certainly. Bobby Labonte, certainly. On down the line, Elliott Sadler is running in 7th right now. Fellows who are used to having maybe not the oomph that a NASCAR Winston Cup car gives you.
This looks like a Busch race we saw here back in, what was it, 92? When Nemechek and Earnhardt went at it wheel to wheel, and Joe won that race.
The only difference right now is Earnhardt has just mowed the competition down coming up through there. He's passing cars at will almost, and he's doing it by setting them up, getting in the corners, and then diving under them, coming out of the corners. He's really, really aggressive right now. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. also, he's moved all the way up to 8th spot now.
But Daddy has never won a NASCAR Winston Cup race here, Dale Earnhardt. He has 3 second-place finishes, 1 in the Busch Series and 2 in Winston Cup, but he has never been to victory lane in a Winston Cup event here at New Hampshire National Speedway.
Eli, I was looking at some of the people that you would think had won a lot of races here, like Mark Martin, for instance. You would think he would just be great on this particular type of racetrack, and he is good, but he's never won here.
And look at that family combination, collectively gaining 19 positions. Excuse me, 29 positions. Earnhardt and Earnhardt Jr. There's another spot picked off. Oh, maybe going a little too high that time as Earnhardt, as Andretti and Spencer come back to the inside.
Well, I can promise you one thing. He won't come down on that 26 car, Jimmy Spencer.
Nobody will do that if they have their wits about them.
That is 20th place that they're battling for right now. Spencer in 20th, Earnhardt in 21st.
Earnhardt currently second in Winston Cup points. A lot of folks think he's got a real good shot at the championship this year. He thinks so too. Why not? He's been second 3 times. He's won 1, third 4 times. 7 out of the 25 races this year. He's been in the top 3, and right now, guts 3 wide. Earnhardt upstairs. He doesn't back out.
And you realize that Dale Earnhardt has failed to finish only 8 laps of all the races that have been run here in NASCAR Winston Cup. He has been running for all but 8 of those circuits. If you're just joining us, no one's in the garage area. All 43 starters are still running. Jeff Burton took the lead from our pole sitter Bobby Labonte on lap number 1, and he has not been headed. As a matter of fact, he has now stretched his lead to 2.3 seconds. 2 3/10, the advantage in the early stages of the Dura Lube 300.
Going back out.
The lead is 2 9/10 seconds now for Jeff Burton, and there Kenny Wallace has problems. He's heading to the garage area. He was lapped 32 laps into today's race. You knew something was wrong because he just went straight back and never could come up to speed.
Yeah, and he's had one of his best runs ever here. He finished second one time in the past here, so I know it's a disappointment to have engine problems this early into the race.
So Kenny Wallace, the first retiree, as our leader Jeff Burton now begins to close in on Scott Pruitt, the number 32. Their second place, now 3 1/10 seconds back for Connecticut's Jerry Nadeau, who ran some events here on the road courses back in his formative years. Then you go back another 2 6/10 to Bobby Labonte. He's running in third. Then you go back another half a second to Rusty Wallace. So all of a sudden, guys, that tight battling has begun to stretch out and spread just a bit.
It has, Eli, but one thing they're fixing to do, they're coming up on a bunch of lap traffic right now, and how well they can manage to get by these cars that are running very, very well. They're just fixing to go a lap down to Jeff Burke because he's got clear racetrack, and they've been in heavy traffic.
All right, buddy, let me ask you a question as a driver. Do you think these fellas are having a good time out there now? Are they frustrated because they don't have the get up and go that the cars used to have? Or the fact that we are seeing in many instances closer racing, is that making it more palatable for them? What are they thinking?
I think the one thing that I notice the most right now is we have big packs of cars and they're running very, very well together, but you don't see the type of racing you saw before where the tires are another factor with the whole thing that they were racing on. I think right now track position has a lot to do with how much you like the restrictor plate.
6th place, Dale Jarrett in the number 88 machine. As you saw him dancing around with Joe Bessie. Here comes Bobby Hamilton in for an unscheduled stop. Running in 39th. He was already a lap down. Ralph Shaheen is there.
Into the pits comes Bobby Hamilton in the number 4 car. They're going to work on the right side of that car, Eli. Checking out, changing tires on that side. They're going to make a 4-tire stop here for Bobby. Fill him up with fuel and send him back out. No word as to what the problem was with the number 4.
As we had mentioned earlier, Bobby Hamilton leaving Morgan McClure Racing. Hey, Ralph, are you hearing anything on the radios down there, or are the crews telling you if their drivers are happy or displeased with the feel of the cars?
Well, Eli, at this stage of the race, it's a lot of what we normally hear. Some of the teams are fairly happy, like Jeff Burton, and some of the teams, like Steve Park, which we reported on, are a little frustrated with the package that they currently have with their car. But some of that you have to remember is that these teams are struggling to find out what setups work best with this new engine package that we have. A lot of the teams have brought their specialists in. Every one of these race teams, not only do they have shock specialists and gear specialists and transmission specialists, this weekend, a lot of those specialists have actually come to the racetrack, which they don't normally do, to help dial these cars in. So they're still struggling to get the perfect handling on these cars to get the maximum performance out of it.
Eli, a car I'm watching just flying around this racetrack is Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's catching Dale Jarrett at a pretty good clip right now, and he hadn't run that well here in the past. He just has a few starts here. The 21st is his best finish. So he's got to be liking the restrictor plate, and I think the reason you hit on it a while ago, it's about the same horsepower right now as the Busch Grand National cars, and he has a lot of experience, 2-time champion in that type of division.
Yeah, yesterday I was talking to Ricky Rudd, and Ricky predicted that the guys who were going to go really well today would be the guys that had Busch experience, and he was just sort of shaking his head because it had been so long since he'd run that car. And it's not just driving the Busch cars, it's setting them up. And realize that this guy in the red number 8, Dale Earnhardt Jr., brought his whole Busch Series team with him, and he has the advantage of the notes from his teammate, Steve Park, who tested at Milwaukee. Keep an eye on this 8. He's got a lot going for him today.
Earnhardt Jr. up to 6th, and here goes Bobby Hamilton back towards the Team Kodak pit area. He was in at lap 46. He's in again now at lap number 51. Let's go to Mike Hogwood.
Well, you guys were talking about whether they were happy or not. I've been in the Dale Earnhardt pit, and you were documenting how fast he was moving up through the field. Well, he was happy at the beginning. They worked so hard on that chassis. It was feeling great. And now Dale is telling Richard Childress and his crew that it is really tightening up on him in the corner. He's gone from a happy driver to one who is not so happy right now.
Meanwhile, they do right there. Remember that lead of seconds upon seconds upon seconds? Well, Burton has still not been able to get around Scott Pruitt. Remember we showed you about 5 minutes ago. He was trying to lap Pruitt. He's not been able to, and that does allow Nadeau to close in, trying to take the lead.
Yeah, this will pick up a little bit. They'll start pushing and shoving here because Nadeau's running down from about a half a straightaway back. And I said this a little while ago. They've caught these guys, but they're running awfully well, and to get by them, they're running a perfect line around the racetrack. They have to move up or get bumped up to even get by these guys now. So you can see already it has an effect on the race. It's going to tighten up from here on.
Nadeau finished 4th here back in July. And in his previous experience here, 3 wins in the Skip Barber Pro Series, including one from the pole in 1995. Back with you here at New Hampshire International Speedway. Glad you're able to join us for TNN Sports coverage of the Dura Lube 300. Presented by Kmart, Eli Gold, Buddy Baker, Dick Bergman. Down on the pit lane, Glenn Jarrett, Ralph Shaheen, Mike Hogwood. And the boss is up here too. Our Grand Marshal, David Hall, stopping by in the booth. And since that's your microphone, feel free to put it on and join us. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. You know, it's great to be here. You know, we're kind of wrapping up a 10-year tradition here.
Yep.
And we've watched this sport grow. We've watched this speedway grow. Watched a lot of our people grow. Had a lot of great people around us. And we've got 3 more of these to do, and then I guess we'll have a big cry, right?
Oh, yeah. You bet on that.
Yeah. And, of course, this is, as we mentioned, our final visit to New Hampshire International Speedway before the folks over at NBC will take over for both of the telecasts here next year. It was a nice honor for the Bear family. We did a feature on the Bears who own this track as part of the pre-race show. It was nice of them to ask you to come up and be part of the festivities as Grand Marshal.
Well, it was fun to be up here. You know, we've got so many friends not only here but in NASCAR, and be able to visit with them and go down to the drivers meeting this morning and tell some jokes and get some laughs. It's been a lot of fun.
You know, it should be pointed out, though, as you continue to watch Jeff Burton, whose lead now is back up to 1 second after seeing that 5-second lead evaporate. And there goes Bobby Hamilton to the garage, joining Kenny Wallace as the second retiree. It should be pointed out that even though TNN Sports will no longer be a regular fixture in the world of NASCAR racing, it is not going to be without motorsports by any stretch of the imagination.
No, we're going to be involved in ASN World of Outlaws. We're going to step that activity up quite a bit. We think that's got a lot of excitement to it, and we'll go on down the road.
Well, listen, hope you have a great remainder of the day. Stick around up here and join us, or venture on down. It's kind of winter time out there, a little chilly today.
David, it's kind of humbling to see you wearing a hat that somebody else has signed. He has a driver sign his TNN hat here.
Well, I got this for someone else, but the only way I could get it signed for him was telling him it was for me. So,
oh, okay.
So, and then I needed a hat to keep my bald head from burning. Some of us know about that, don't we?
I can understand that.
See? So I've been guarding the hat, and everything's going to be fine.
David, great to see you, and thanks for all you've done, and enjoy the rest of this day here.
I'm going to have a good time. Y'all have a good time. Thanks for a great job.
Our pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
David Hall, president of TNN, and he's our boss in plain English, and the Grand Marshal for this weekend's racing here at New Hampshire International Speedway. Second place, Jerry Nadeau. He is in that blue and white number 25. He is 7/10 of a second back right now behind the race leader, Jeff Burton.
It has been a struggle both for Nadeau and Burton to get past cars. And they get behind a guy that can be running 2-3 miles an hour faster, and it still takes 3 or 4 laps for them to get by those slower race cars.
The interval from Nadeau back to Bobby Labonte, with whom we're riding right now, is 2 seconds. If you're a Brett Bodine fan, he has just gone to the garage now too. Looks as though the guys who have not hit the engine combination are having problems here early. Kenny Wallace, Bobby Hamilton, Brett Bodine, all to the garage in the span of 63 laps.
Eli, it happens a lot, and right now Terry Labonte's going a lap down already, and the combination has to be almost perfect. And if you put a lot of strain on these restrictor plate motors, you can look for trouble.
Sterling Marlin, there he is in the 40, running in the 5th spot right now. He is 4 6/10 seconds behind race leader Jeff Burton. Riding with Robert Presley, he's back in 37th spot. He's already a lap down, Robert is. And the Jasper Engines and Transmissions entry. From our viewer's seat here in the broadcast booth. Trust us when we tell you we can see towards Bobby Hamilton's garage stall, and they are working on that car. So apparently it's not a terminal engine problem. They hope to have him come back as we ride with Ricky Rudd now in 6th position. Ricky is 8 seconds behind the leader.
And started in 19th. And I've been watching this car all the way as he's been working his way towards the front. By far, I think he's the fastest car on the speedway.
And so too Jeff Gordon, maybe. See, there comes Jeff right behind him. And Jeff started back in 18th, and he's now running in the 7th spot. So those two fellas, Rudd and Gordon, among those who are very, very quick. Dale Earnhardt Jr. also next in line, running in the 8th spot after starting in 20th. And there's Jr. in that red, number 8, with Dale Jarrett right behind him, running in the 9th spot. And Elliott Sadler has backslid to 10th from 7th. He is 12 seconds, as you see, behind the leader.
Eli, they have a ton of tape on the front of these cars trying to get the maximum downforce that they can get on these cars. I was noticing Jeff Gordon and the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr., nearly the whole front of the car is taped off. And I can tell you the sun's popping out now. If the temperature goes up, you'll see some of that tape coming off.
Now, if you wonder what 12 seconds looks like here in New Hampshire, there is the 21 of Sadler and the 20 of Tony Stewart. They are 10th and 11th. They are 12 seconds behind Jeff Burton. And we'll zero back around to him at the other end of the racetrack. So that is what 12 seconds is like here in New Hampshire. It's a long way to go, but a long time yet to get there.
Hi, Jeff Burton, family van man for LA West Luxury Vehicles, the only choice of the Burton family.
LA West Luxury Vehicles, available nationwide from select Ford dealers. Call us at 1-800-786-VANS. Communications provided by Racing Radios, the leader in racing communications worldwide. Call us today at 1-800-669-1522 for all your two-way needs for race teams and scanners and headsets for the fans. And by Featherlight, the official trailer of NASCAR, CART, IRL, NHRA, ASA, and World of Outlaws. Remember to call Featherlight for all your trailer and motor coach needs at 800-800-1230.
Welcome back, everybody, as you watch Jerry Nadeau in the 25 be challenged for positions by Labonte and Wallace. You're riding with Bobby Labonte right now, trying to grab second spot away from Jerry Nadeau. They are at this point a second and a half behind Jeff Burton. Now, Burton, you might remember, when he won here back in July of '98, led 191 laps that day. That's the most laps that have been led by any driver in a single race at New Hampshire International Speedway. And Glenn, he might be on pace to do that again.
Are they talking now?
Obviously, Glenn having a little problem hearing us through the noise of the pit lane. We'll go back to him in a moment.
You know, I was noticing, Dick, that the 25 car there, Jerry Nadeau, just jumped back and lost about 6 or 7 spots there in just a lap.
What's he doing? Shaking the car around like that. Now, when he lost those spots, he was outside of a bunch of other cars, just slipped up the racetrack, just went down the back straightaway, wobbling the steering wheel back and forth as if there may be something mechanically wrong with the car.
Oh,
he just ran into Stacy Compton.
Maybe there's just a ton of rubber that is stuck to the tire and he thought he had a problem there.
Something's wrong.
Jerry's now 5 seconds behind the leader, Burton. Well, he has certainly settled it down now.
Well, he had a good shot to win this thing. Maybe he still does if he can get rid of these problems. Remember back in July, finished 4th here. That was his career best finish ever. And he finished 4th at Indianapolis, too. So 4th is his best. Let's call it set right here at New Hampshire.
Now, let's see again what happened. Watch at the bottom right of your screen. Look at that.
Well, you can see the back. It's almost like the Panhard bar. He's checking to see if he has a right rear flap there. That's exactly what he's doing. He's taking the car back and forth. And I would speculate that he probably got outside the groove a little bit. And it's slick up above the second lane there. And, I mean, you get up there, you feel like the tire's flat. And he just wanted to make sure in that heavy traffic, he didn't want to take the car down in the corner that had a flat tire.
79 laps laps on the board of 300 that make up the distance. If you're just joining us, it has been clean and green so far. The competition has been good. We've actually seen, I think, more side-by-side racing in packs at times than we have at other times. We're also probably, and again, this is totally speculative, we're about, I would guess, 15 to 18 to 20 laps away from some semblance of pit stop windows. Again, conjecturing that you might go a little short on your first series of pit stops. We'll all find out together, because the old fuel numbers of years gone by don't mean a thing anymore as they work on Bobby Hamilton's car. TNN Sports live coverage of the VerisRacing.com Dura Lube 300, sponsored by Kmart, is being brought to you by NapaOnline.com, where everything great about Napa is now available online. Well, so far, he's making a mockery of things, Jeff Burton is. He is 5 2/10 seconds ahead of Bobby Labonte and has led every single lap of the 85 that have been run thus far. You see behind him there off turn 4, that's Jeremy Mayfield just coming by. So Jeremy has just been put a lap down. And there's second place runner Bobby Labonte. I'll tell you, when you start lapping Jeremy Mayfield this early in the race, you know you're doing something right.
Exactly right. And we know that they have a good plate motor, so apparently the chassis may be off a little bit, or the car's just not doing what he wants it to do right at the moment. So Jeremy is a front runner, no doubt about that.
Well, there's a car that's doing everything right. Well, you saw for just a brief second the 99 of Burton.
And Ricky Rudd there just picked up 2 spots. He goes by Sterling Marlin, now Nadeau. He's just moving right on up through the field.
There you see Jerry Nadeau right there behind Ricky Rudd. Hey, Ralph, what was the deal with Nadeau there before?
Well, Eli, he got a little too wide out through the racetrack. And, of course, when you get up high out of the regular racing group, there's a lot of garbage and debris up there. Small pieces, but when you put them on those hot racing tires, they stick right to them, and then it's like driving on ice. So he had to swerve back and forth a little bit to try to scrape that stuff off as fast as he can. He thinks he's cleared those tires back off, good enough at least, to start charging back towards the front. Mike Hogwood?
Well, Bobby Hamilton in the garage area, as you saw him come in, and he had a problem turning the car. Thought it might have been a flat tire, but it's more serious than that. It's a steering box problem. They're working on it. Brett Bodine lost a cylinder early, then he lost another one, and he's called it a day.
And Kenny Wallace went in at lap number 39 onto the garage area as the first driver to go out. And Kenny has come back, then he went back in yet again. So it's been one of those afternoons for Kenny Wallace. By the way, you know, one thing we haven't talked about today, and with all the new fans who are always tuning into NASCAR racing, one thing we've not explained is what is a carburetor restrictor plate. You know, we talked about it all day, and we know that so many of you know, but for those who are new to the sport, it's just a plate 5 inches by 5 inches, and it has 4 1-inch holes in it. In this case, it's a 1-inch restrictor plate, and it just restricts the amount of air that flows between the carburetor and the manifold, and that substantially then reduces the amount of horsepower that the engine can create. But for those who might be new to NASCAR, we need to explain what that is.
And by analogy, if your tie is too tight, that's what it's like. It chokes the engine, so it doesn't run well.
Or if you're running a mile, put your finger over one nose hole. That's what it's like. You'll run out of stuff.
Or for those of you elsewhere, you can use the word nostril as well.
Yeah. Nose hole works.
Tony Stewart on pit road.
Tony Stewart's in for service. Blaney is in for service. Let's check in with Ralph.
Well, it's 4 tires and a chassis adjustment to the right rear for Tony Stewart, as well as fuel, and he is back underway.
Know what he was doing on Wednesday afternoon? He was in Harlem painting a Habitat for Humanity house. On Thursday, he was at nearby Star Speedway driving a street stock.
Epping, New Hampshire.
That's it, yep.
I pronounced it for years Epping, and I got a nice note from somebody. There's no G on the end.
Epping, New Hampshire.
Yeah, Epping, New Hampshire.
Interesting deal. He wanted to see if he could go faster in that street stock than our technical editor at the magazine.
And?
I won't tell you. You're going to have to read the magazine.
Speedway Illustrated.
That's the one.
Carries Dick Berggren's name proudly on the cover.
Well, you know, Jeff Burton is amazing me right now, because you would think the pace he set, if anybody had tires going bad, he would have already experienced it. That car right now is like it's on just a rail around the racetrack.
The car he just passed, Chad Little in the number 97. This is his last non-big track ride in that car. He's going to be out of it next week. Kurt Busch will be in it.
Yep. There's Jeremy Mayfield in for service, lap number 93. Kurt Busch, the great NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series standout. Hey, there's a good battle. Sterling Marlin in the 40. Jeff Gordon in the 24. That's 6th and 7th as we go back to Ralph on pit road.
Well, it was service for Jeremy Mayfield as well. Eli, tires and fuel. We're up around lap 94, and most of the crew chiefs I've talked to said somewhere around lap 100.
Major problems. That is Scott Pruitt, who spins off the corner. Terry Labonte comes down the pit road, and the first caution flag of the afternoon, lap number 94. It comes out at a very propitious time for some, and a simply terrible time for those who've already made their pit stops.
Wow, look at the back of that race car. You talk about torn up now. You can't just push that one out and go on. That one will have some major damage to it. Actually, right back in the back part of that race car there is where you put the fuel in. So they even if they pushed it back, he's pretty much done.
I feel for these guys. They have tried so hard. They have 6 crash DNFs coming into this race. If they can't get that thing back out again, it'll be 7. For all the effort they put in it, they've not gotten much back. Just 1 top 10 so far this year.
Here's what happened to the Tide ride. Sideways there already.
Oh,
man. You saw Earnhardt Jr. was right behind him. Couldn't tell if there was contact. Let's see.
They're back in there as they come off the corner. I can't tell.
Obviously, you see a major problem. You don't know if anybody set somebody else up.
Fuel cell worked.
It did. And Scott Pruitt goes to the garage area, joining Kenny Wallace and Brett Bodine. Bobby Hamilton has returned from the garage. He is 39 laps down, and now at lap number 96, all the leaders are coming in for service. Burton, Bobby Labonte, Rusty Wallace, top to bottom on your screen. Mike Hogwood.
Well, Jerry Nadeau just completed his stop. They had no adjustment, 4 tires and fuel. Jerry Nadeau says we've got to get new tires on this car after that pass he tried to make on the outside. To Ralph.
Ricky Rudd was very pleased with his car, had a great stop, 4 tires and fuel. Jeff Gordon, on the other hand, who pitted just in front of him, got blocked in and lost a second or 2 as he tried to get out onto pit road. Glenn Jarrett.
Guys, I'm sorry, I'm having a lot of trouble with my radio down here. Evidently, one of the team's radios is on the same frequency mine's on. Jeff Burton came in. They changed 4 tires, obviously put fuel in it. They made a very slight left side chassis adjustment, or left side tire air pressure adjustment on the car, and that's all that they did. That thing has been pretty flawless so far. They ain't going to mess with it much.
Now, Dick Berggren, the importance of pit stops, we all know they're huge. But in a race where pit stops are going to be very few in number, boy, the importance is even magnified.
If you only have 2 pit stops in a race, if you mess one up, you've messed up 50% of your pit stops, as opposed to, let's say, if you're going to have 8 or 10 pit stops in the race, you mess one up, it's not a big problem. You can make up for it in the rest.
Eli, that guy going right there stopped about 5 laps before the caution came out, Tony Stewart, and now he's being stopped by the NASCAR official down there going to the back of the line there, but he really lost valuable time.
So Tony Stewart, who came in for service at lap 91, returns in at lap 97. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. Just going back to green a lap ago here at New Hampshire International Speedway. There you see the top 5 who stayed the same by virtue of their pit stops. But look at Jeff Gordon before the pit stop running 7th. After the stop, running in 13th place. So a significant move in the wrong direction for the DuPont team after that pit stop at lap number 96. On the restart seconds ago, you see the Mobil 1 machine. That's Jeremy Mayfield. He got the jump on Jeff Burton. So for the moment, Mayfield in 34th is on the tail end of the lead lap. Dave Blaney and Wally Dallenbach tried to get by as well. They weren't able to do so.
Eli, I was watching just a second ago, the green car there, Bobby Labonte. Tony Stewart
with
on the
problems
outside
again.
there. Very slick up there. He'll just have to wait until he gets on the straightaway to get back in the racing groove.
Well, he's just not having any fun at all today. Stewart has had this racetrack as one of his bests, at least until today. He's only run 3 Winston Cup races here. 2 of them he led more laps than anybody else. Won one of them. His average finish going into today, 4.3. He's got a lot of work to do this afternoon to hold that record up.
He even won here when the Indy Racing League ran here at New Hampshire International Speedway. So, yeah, Tony Stewart has always taken very, very well. The whole team, actually, when you think about it.
Oh, Zippy is
Greg
preaching.
Zipadelli from New Britain, Connecticut. Their engine man, Chris Woodward, from right here in New Hampshire. Dave Rogers from Vermont. Jason Shapiro from Connecticut. Look there in the lower right-hand corner. Look at that beating and banging. Mike Skinner.
Look who's in his back bumper.
Earnhardt.
Yep.
This just in.
But in fairness, that was one of those deals where everybody was running nose to tail, so you don't want to point a finger at anybody in particular.
You see Tony Stewart back up to full song now. He's got all that stuff off the tires again, and he's back up with pretty good, but I don't think his car is exactly the way he wants it at the moment.
If you're just tuning in, we've had 1 caution. Came out at lap number 94 when Scott Pruitt spun off turn number 4. In the garage area, Kenny Wallace, as you see things heating up front, and down going a lap again is Jeremy Mayfield. Burton gets by him. Kenny Wallace in the garage, done. Brett Bodine, engine failure. Scott Pruitt out with the accident. Bobby Hamilton having returned after the steering box problems. He's 39 laps down.
Whoa, it's getting rough out there.
Yeah, and Mike Skinner's making sure it stays that way. Right now, Mike Bliss dives on the bottom part of the racetrack, and here comes Earnhardt down below the yellow line, making a move on Bliss.
That's Joe Bessie in the 60. Jeffrey Bodine had been running that car for much of the year. He's out of the ride. Bessie, the car owner, took over the controls at this race. It's his first ever Winston Cup start.
And Ken Sith in the number 17, picking his way through traffic, running the same Ford Taurus that he ran last week at Richmond. As you see Dale Earnhardt right there. Skinner and Stewart.
Hello. Did we owe us one? I'll tell you this, the drivers aren't going to put up with getting roughed up at this racetrack, and there's a lot of potential for people roughing other people up. I talked to several of them who said, anybody hits me in the back, we go right out and get them immediately and explain that you just don't do that this afternoon.
Nerves are a little on the frayed edge in light of obviously what's happened here this season and with the uncertainties of the rule change for this weekend. I don't say tempers have been short, but guys have been just a little bit quick to jump.
Well, lack of sleep, too. I mean, a lot of the crewmen have had very little sleep over the course of this week between engine dynos, chassis dynos, spintrons, airplanes flying camshafts, back and forth between engine shops and manufacturers. There have been a lot of shops that have been running from 6 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night, and that's a long day for these fellas.
Tony Stewart's car is just wiggling all over the racetrack. Elliott Sadler was up under him just a second ago. Ted Musgraves in the 0-1 right there is closing in on him. He's having a real time with that car at the moment.
As you ride along with Bill Elliott in 25th spot, you see Mike Bliss just ahead of him there in that Viagra car. Mike Bliss, who ran here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in 4 races and finished as high as 3rd back in 1996.
He's not had a good time with Winston Cup racing. Not at all. He's been a winner in everything he has run in except here. And it's been a tough, tough year for Mike Bliss. Talked to him yesterday, and he's not sure what he's going to do next year. He's contemplating running a lesser series where he makes a whole lot less money just so he can run better. But if his team comes up with a sponsor, he'll stick with him.
Eli, I think one reason he runs as well as he does here, he has a few races up here into the Craftsman Truck, so he's doing quite well here.
When we come back, we'll be at lap 115. Good little battle going right now. Folks, coming up next Sunday here on TNN, we are following these same NASCAR Winston Cup cars and stars to Dover Downs in Delaware. The MBNA.com 400. See who can tame the Monster Mile. That is next Sunday at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 in the morning Pacific time, right here on TNN Sports. Eli Gold, Buddy Baker, the Dr. Dick Berggren, Glenn Jarrett, Ralph Shaheen, Mike Hogwood, the whole crew on hand. Glad you're with us. There is the 10th place, well, quasi-battle. Mark Martin set up Steve Park and blew right on by him to grab the 10th spot.
You want to pick a winner for the race, that number 6 car, Mark Martin, would be a really, really good choice. Here's a guy that wins at Winston Cup, won more races in Busch than anybody else. He said he does best when there's no tire slip. And that's what we've got here today, limited tire slip. His record here at New Hampshire, superb. 7 of 11 starts, top 5, 9 of 11, top 10. Most of every driver, no DNFs, 2 poles. He's been second 3 times. No one is more overdue to win here or more deserving than the guy in the number 6, Mark Martin.
But you know who else might do well is that car right there, John Andretti, starting in 31st. He is now running in the 8th spot. And you know, they've only had 1 top 10 finish all year there at Michigan, where they finished in the 9th position. But had a great run last week, 11th place at Richmond. So you never know, when they're hanging around the top 10 like they are, they're going to be tough.
And I noticed the king, Richard Petty, was up here yesterday, and I guarantee you, I don't think there's anybody better on setups on flat tracks than Richard Petty.
Good point.
John's run well here before. He just hasn't been able to close the deal. 5 of his 10 starts have resulted in DNF, and you're not going to win races if you don't finish them.
He and Terry Labonte each with 5 DNFs did not finish here at New Hampshire International Speedway. The lead still a 2.5 seconds for Jeff Burton on Bobby Labonte. 3rd place is right there, Rusty Wallace and Jerry Nadeau.
Nadeau had dropped back about 3 or 4 positions before he made this caution, but after he made this tire change, I think they adjusted on that car or something, because he really came back very strong after he got new tires.
Well, we're talking about closing the deal. Rusty Wallace and his crew chief Robin Pemberton surely have figured out how to do that. Beginning of the season, they were leading a lot of laps but not winning races. Now they're leading a lot of laps and winning races. They've got the strategy figured out. They've got the communication figured out, and they have got momentum as well.
5th place there, Rudd and Jarrett.
Teammates.
You know, before this problem that with the 88 car, before he made his pit stop, he dropped back out of the top 10, and now he's right back in the battle here. Whatever adjustments they made were the right ones, because Ricky Rudd was one of the quickest cars on the track, and he's run him down about a straightaway, and now he looks to be a little bit quicker.
Jarrett is 3rd in points, 164 behind Bobby Labonte. Ricky Rudd is 7th in points.
He took an interesting strategy for the event. While most of the competitors on Friday and Saturday were working hard on qualifying setups, Darrell Jarrett and Ricky Rudd, as we watched Jarrett go by Rudd, were working on race setups. DJ never threw a qualifying setup underneath that number 88 the whole time they were here, figuring he'd take a back position to start the race and move on by everybody. And indeed, in the first practice session, the slowest car on the racetrack was Dale Jarrett in the 88.
Meanwhile, the leader is still Jeff Burton. Boy, has he had an interesting mix here in New Hampshire. When he won here in July of '98, he led 191 of the 300 laps. Then when he won here in July of '99, Glenn, remember that? He only led lap 299 and 300 when Tony Stewart ran out of fuel. So Jeff Burton's covered it at both ends of the spectrum.
Well, he has. He loves this racetrack probably more than anywhere else that he likes to go. I'll get a word with crew chief Frankie Stoddard here. Frankie, you guys went and tested. Are we seeing the results of that test? Or is it because Jeff has so much experience in the Busch cars with limited power?
Well, I don't know. You know, obviously, we're real proud of the guys working as hard as they did back at the shop. To go and test, you know, when they throw stuff on us like that, the motor guys worked hard. We needed to do our part. Real proud of them for that. You know, Jeff's a real smooth race car driver. That's what it takes, I think, with this deal. He's being awful smooth right there at the front today. And, you know, we'll just see what happens. We put a pretty good setup in the car. We felt like looking off some Busch North notes and everything we do and just do it at it.
Well, they certainly have thrown it at it today, guys, and it is working. As I said, when you like a racetrack the way that Jeff Burton likes this racetrack, it makes things so much easier.
And in the last 6 races here, his average finish has been 6th. So, I mean, that's darn good. You compare that, for instance, to a Bobby Labonte, who in the last 6 races here has averaged a finish of almost 14th place. So that's how good Jeff Burton is doing. Burton back to Bobby Labonte is 1 8/10 seconds. And then Burton back to those guys, Rusty Wallace and Jerry Nadeau, 3 9/10 of a second. I mean, nobody's been able to hang a Burton basically all season. Or at least all afternoon. And in many regards all season. When he's hot, he's tough to handle. As a matter of fact, Jeff Burton, you know, I'm not totally crazy. He is the only driver to score more points than Bobby Labonte in the second half of the season. A lot of folks don't know that. But he is the only guy.
But they do now.
They do now.
Yeah.
Bobby's big lead was staked to his great runs earlier in the year and his consistency. But Jeff Burton's got more points in the second half of the year than Labonte does.
And that consistency is exactly what this team needs to win a championship. They are a championship caliber team. They have all the right people, all the right equipment. 7 top 10s in a row to this race shows that kind of consistency. So does leading 11 of his last 13 starts, including today.
But he knew that.
Absolutely knew that.
We are live in New Hampshire. 128 of 300 laps in the books. We're nearing halfway. In 11 NASCAR Winston Cup races at the New Hampshire International Speedway, only one driver has won from the Bud Pole. He's Jeff Gordon. In 1998, Gordon won the Bud Pole for the CMT 300 with a speed of better than 129 miles an hour. He led the first lap, then didn't lead again until lap 234. But he went the rest of the way, claiming his 9th win of the year, breaking the track record with an average winning speed of just over 112 miles an hour. Budweiser with a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you. Welcome back to New Hampshire. Jeff Burton continues to pace the field. Lap 135. He has been at the head of the leaderboard from the get-go. Meanwhile, in the garage area, Scott Pruitt joining Kenny Wallace and Brett Bodine on the attrition list. Mike Hogwood is there.
Yeah, calling it a day a little bit early. Tough way to end your day at New Hampshire. First question, how is the racing out there?
It was kind of boring, actually. Unfortunately, first got to say hi to my family at home. I'm okay. It's real close. It's hard to set guys up. You just don't have any power to do anything. And so it's just making it just not as exciting as a race I think it was earlier in the year.
What about tire wear?
Tire wear was fine. I mean, we're just not working the tire as hard as we were. You know, we have 250 less horsepower. The speeds are down. And, you know, it's just the wear is up significantly, and that's going to change the outcome of the race.
All right, that's Scott Pruitt out today. See you next week at Dover.
Taking nothing from what Scott Pruitt says, because I have never driven a lap in anger. I wonder if Jeff Burton finds this afternoon quite as boring, using Scott Pruitt's words, when leading the 137 laps that have been run thus far.
Eli, in their stand-up, we talked about the guys that really have a handle on it. They'll enjoy it. One thing a race car driver wants to be is very, very competitive. And if you're competitive, you love it. If you're back there fighting for everything you can get, then you don't like it quite as much. But hey, you got to live with it today. That's it.
Scott Pruitt's a good one, though. Yeah, he is a champion race car driver.
And if they stick with him, that guy is going to win Winston Cup races. He's got all the right stuff. So does the guy we're riding with, too, Ricky Rudd. Milestone event, 600th consecutive start this afternoon for Ricky Rudd.
Another of the Iron Men in NASCAR Winston Cup racing.
No, he's dropping back a little bit, though. He was much quicker before he took on this next set of tires. He's dropping back just a little bit. Rusty Wallace also has lost the handle on his car. He's dropping back just a little himself.
Rusty's pushing a little bit, just called into his crew and told him he needs to take some fight out of that number 2 car.
See Andretti in the 43. We talked to him earlier, running in 8th spot, staying right there. Sterling Marlin in the 40.
John is...
I was going to say, had a 3rd place qualifying spot, which was his season's best. And he's been able to hang in the top 10 or 11.
The thing that impresses me about Andretti, Eli, is the fact he's come from 31st spot, gotten past all those cars on a racetrack that's difficult to pass on. You have to wonder how well John Andretti would be running, what position he'd be in right now had he a better starting spot. He has got a terrific car this afternoon, and he's driving it exceptionally well.
Jeff Burton has led all 141 laps. He'll put Bobby Hamilton down a 40th lap as Robert Yates waits for his guys to go back to work. TNN Sports live coverage of the VerisRacing.com Dura Lube 300, sponsored by Kmart, is being brought to you by Route 66. Jeans, clothes. It's not Main Street, only at Kmart. And by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. There's the man of the hour. Actually, he's been the man of the last hour and a half. That's how long he's been leading. Jeff Burton showing the way. He's led all 146 laps so far. By the way, I want to say hello to a longtime NASCAR fan, Lauren French in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. Understand he is watching today, just home from the hospital, and we hope you're enjoying our coverage, Lauren. Thanks for tuning in back there in Wisconsin. Let's take it strolling through the field here. Jeff Burton's leading by 1 2/10 seconds. You see 31 Mike Skinner. He just went a lap down. Skinner's in 25th spot. There's Bobby Labonte, the number 2 runner in the Interstate Batteries machine. Number 90, that's Hutch Strickland for Junie Donlevy, running in 33rd spot, 3 laps behind the leader, and 40 laps down. Now is Bobby Hamilton there in the number 4 Kodak machine. He's been in the garage area after that steering box problem of earlier. Jerry Nadeau is next on the racetrack. He's on the lead lap in 3rd, 4.5 seconds behind Jeff Burton, who is our race leader. Then you've got Dale Jarrett next in line. He's 5.6 seconds behind, running in 4th. And then Rusty Wallace, he's running in 5th. Rusty also obviously on the lead lap. Then you've got Ricky Rudd, like Wallace, 7.5 seconds back. Ricky is now 8 seconds back. And there's Sterling Marlin, following right there in Ricky Rudd's tire track. Sterling is running in 7th, 8.6 seconds behind. Ralph, solid run for Ricky Rudd right now.
Yes, it is, but as you pointed out, he was a little bit slower on this set of tires than he was before, and that's because the car is just a little bit loose right now. Talked to his crew chief, Michael McSwain, and they're just waiting to hopefully get another set on there and maybe get him back to as much speed as they had earlier on today.
As we are now halfway home here in the 300 at New Hampshire. You see Rudd, Sterling, Marlin. We talked to Sterling before, running in 7th, 8 9/10 seconds back. And then John Andretti running in 8th spot. There he is. John is 9 1/10 behind Jeff Burton, the race leader. Next is Joe Bessie taking over his own car from Jeffrey Bodine. There is Bessie running in 38th, 4 laps down. The 8th is Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jeff Gordon right behind him. They are running 9th and 10th respectively. 13.4 and 13.7 behind Jeff Burton. 93 is Dave Blaney, the Amoco colors. He is 2 laps down in 34th position. There's Mark Martin The Valvoline team, car number 6, running in 11th place. They're on the lead lap, 13.2. That is the deficit they have to the race leader. And then Steve Park, the only driver to have run all 5 NASCAR Touring Series that run here at New Hampshire. Steve is on the lead lap as well, running in 12th spot, 15.4 seconds back. The 33 is Joe Nemechek. He's on the lead lap at 13th. He's 15.8 seconds behind as we check his telemetry now. See how Joe's doing. .144 miles an hour entering turn 3 for Joe Nemechek. As we continue to drop back through the field for you, Johnny Benson running in the number 10 car. He's 14th spot, 16.5 seconds back. There's the 12 of Jeremy Mayfield. Remember, he lost a couple of laps. He's in 35th, 2 laps down behind Jeff Burton. 26 is next on the racetrack. That's Jimmy Spencer. Jimmy's on the lead lap, 15.2 seconds back in 15th position. Behind him on the track is Wally Dallenbach. If you're following Wally's progress today, he's 3 laps down in 36th position. The 9 is Stacy Compton. Stacy's running in 26th. He's 2 laps down. Stacy Compton is. The 36th is Kenny Schrader. Kenny's on the lead lap, 22 seconds behind Jeff Burton. There are the M&M colors going off into the corner. Darrell Waltrip not having a good day today. He's 5 laps down. There's DW running in 39th. Terry Labonte went a lap down early. He's now 2 laps down in 27th position. The 16 is Kevin LePage. There's Kevin in the 28th spot. He too is 2 laps down. And then Dale Earnhardt on the lead lap, 25.2 seconds back. The 97, that's Chad Little. He's 24 seconds behind leader Jeff Burton, running in the 18th spot. Matt Kenseth, he's in 19th spot. Kenseth running in position 19. And then Tony Stewart, he's in 29th, Ralph. Tony's 2 laps down.
Boy, he's had a rough day here, Eli. They were running good early on, but then they went and made that pit stop. The car was tight in the center of the corner and loose coming off, and then just after they made their pit stop, they got caught out with the yellow. Tony was pretty frustrated. One of the biggest challenges today for some of these crew chiefs is keeping their drivers pumped up and charging, and that's what Greg Zipadelli's trying to do with Tony Stewart right now.
And you see he and Darrell Waltrip battling. Continue to take you through the field and all the fellas who are on the racetrack at this moment. We talked about Little and Kenseth, Darrell Waltrip and Stewart. We come now to that yellow and black machine. That's Michael Waltrip. He's in 30th place, Michael is, 2 laps down. The 14, the green car, that's Rick Mast. He's 25 and 1/10 seconds back in 20th on the lead lap. Then the 77 of Robert Presley, 31st place for Robert. He's 2 laps down as we ride with him on the back straightaway. The 22 is Ward Burton. He is battling Robert Presley for position. There's the Cat car coming towards you. He's in 32nd spot, again, 2 laps down. Others running well. Ted Musgrave, the 01. Ted's in 21st, 26 seconds back. Then Mike Bliss, 27.2 seconds behind. Bliss is in 22nd, and then you cycle back on around to Jeff Burton. That's everybody who's running. Scott Pruitt done for the day with an accident. Brett Bodine out with engine failure. The same with Kenny Wallace. Hey, folks, you see right there, Bobby Labonte has caught Jeff Burton. You would know that also if you were online. NASCAR Online has all the current up-to-the-second scoring, all the latest news. We log on many, many times during the course of the week, before, during, after the race. NASCAR.com, your 24-hour NASCAR Garage Pass. And I'm sure if you click on the social calendar of the Internet on NASCAR Online, they would also quickly tell you congratulations to Richard and Linda Petty, grandparents, for the 11th time this week. Rebecca and Brian Moffitt. Rebecca is their daughter, giving birth to Thaddeus Drake Moffitt, who would have become becomes a star football player, will be known, no doubt, as TV Muffet. But our congratulations to Rebecca and Brian on the birth of Thaddeus Drake Muffet, and to the King and Linda. Congratulations to all. Hey, you got Ward Burton checking out brother Jeff, who's closing in from the rear flank. You see all the NASCAR timing and scoring there on the upper left of the screen. NapaOnline.com, where everything great about Napa is now available online.
Yeah, one Burton's having a great day, and Ward Burton is not having a great day. He's in 31st spot right now.
They ran so much better at the beginning of this year. First 6 races, Ward Burton had 3 top 5 finishes. Hasn't had a top 5 since then. And, they were much faster at the beginning of the year. If they could only find the speed they had then. There we go, brother beside brother.
The view that Robert Presley has is what you're looking at, as Ward will go yet another lap down. It'll be 3 that he is now in arrears to his brother.
Lehigh has never been Ward's favorite track anyway. His best finish ever here is 8th, and that was in '99.
Hard to pass as it is here. The drivers have been very gentlemanly one toward the other. I don't expect matters to be quite as nice as this race begins to wind down.
Only one caution if you're just joining us. Scott Pruitt spinning off turn number 4 back on lap 94. A very quick caution. Damage enough to put the time machine in the garage, but very little cleanup had to be done. Kenny Wallace out after 39 laps with engine failure. Brett Bodine out at lap 60 with engine failure. And then Scott Pruitt gone with the accident. And you're up to speed. As to those who've led laps today, he is Jeff Burton.
It's a short list.
He has led all 169. You know, Jerry Nadeau there on the 25. He got close. He caught up at one point. Bobby Labonte caught up at one point. But I think it was traceable more than anything else to the fact that Jeff Burton got caught up in traffic more than anything, because once he got clear, again, he checked out.
That, and once he gets a little bit of heat in the tires, it just seems that Jeff Burton can go any place he wants to on the racetrack, where, you know, you notice other people really having to struggle in the center part of the corner. He just turns left and gets up under.
This morning I was curious about the engine strategy they might have come up with in the 99. Did they use a Daytona Talladega engine, adapt it here, build something special? And I asked Frank Stoddard. He shrugged his shoulders. He says, I have not got a clue what we have in this car for an engine. Whatever Jack Roush gives us, we bolt it in.
It's working.
Yeah.
Jeff Burton running well here today, as he did in July of '98 when he won from 38th starting spot, the farthest back a winner had come in years. Back with you here at New Hampshire International Speedway. TNN Sports with continuing coverage of the Dura Lube 300, sponsored by Kmart. Jeff Burton has led all 178 laps. Jerry Nadeau, watch him here as he comes out. Look at the right front of Nadeau. You see that right there? Mike Hogwood, looks like somebody came by and either gave Jerry or received from Jerry a love tap.
Yeah, a little more than a love tap. And as you see, Dale Jarrett has just gotten by him. It's really affected the handling on the 25 car. Jerry's told his crew that it's tighter than it's been all day long. They've assured him on the next pit stop that they will try to bang that out a little bit and try to get the handling back a little bit towards the way it was. But right now, Jerry Nadeau having some trouble on the track.
And he's trying to make up for it by staying very close to Jarrett and keeping the front end of the car as close as he can to keep it out of the turbulence as the air passes around the car.
You'd look at this track and might not automatically think aerodynamics, but downforce is a huge story here.
Hey, we've seen 140 miles an hour on the backstretch, and aerodynamics plays a major role there. Nadeau's been mixed up in traffic on several occasions today. He's just gotten himself, or circumstances have put him, I should say, in situations where he's been really involved with a lot of lapped cars, 3, 4, 5 lap cars all around him, and a couple of times it's bit him. This last time it bit hard.
inside of Robert Presley in the 77. Bobby Labonte, by the way, still running in second. He is 1 3/10 seconds behind the leader. Here he goes inside of his brother, Terry Labonte. So the NASCAR Winston Cup point leader just taking his time. If he wins, he'd love to. If not, though, he's still running consistently in the top 5 all day.
Well, one thing he'd certainly like to do is be able to get by Jeff Burton for at least one lap and cross the stripe to pick up 5 bonus points. Bobby Labonte needs all the points he can get in his march toward the championship, and so far, he hasn't led a lap today. Indeed, nobody else has led a lap today except Jeff Burton.
As we said, Bobby has held the point lead since the 10th race of the year in California.
Great year he's had, to 10 top 3 finishes in 25 starts. 40% of his races this year, Bobby Labonte has finished first, second, or third. An incredible record. He has 0 DNS consistency, and then some. Underline the word. These guys have got it.
Eli, there again, though, he's one of the people that you would think had already won here. His best finish ever, third.
Glenn Jarrett's keeping an eye on the point standings as this afternoon continues along. Glenn?
Well, right now you look on the leaderboard and you see the top 3 in the point standings. Not exactly in that order, but Jeff Burton with his dominant run today has moved into second as they run right now in the points. Burton, as we have said many times, has had the dominant car. His car is just a tiny, tiny bit tight. They're planning on coming in for their last pit stop somewhere around lap 205 to 210. They're going to kind of keep an eye on Bobby Labonte, see what he does. Labonte, meanwhile, his car is too tight in the center of the corners. He's not getting any forward bite up off the corner, so they're going to make an adjustment on it. Jimmy Makar told me that he should be in around lap 200 to 205, so should see final pit stops coming up 15 to 20 laps. Here's Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Glenn, the story is the same down here with Dale Jarrett as it is for Bobby Labonte. The car is a little bit too tight in the corners. They're planning on making their final pit stop around lap 200 as well. Adjust the car. Right now, they're trying to get him to save the right front tire as much as they can before they have to make that final pit stop.
Of course, the other point contender, Dale Earnhardt, there he is, running in 17th in 11 starts here. He has a couple of second-place finishes, 5 top 5s. But as we said earlier in the show, has never won in a NASCAR Winston Cup car here in New Hampshire.
Yes, and he's fixing to go a lap down. Just behind him, about half a straightaway back is our leader, and he is gaining on Earnhardt. You can see right there the interval is not very much between the 99 of Jeff Burton and Earnhardt. Just ahead of him, they're fixing to go a lap down.
Around Stacy Compton in the 9, putting him a 3rd lap down. As not a soul has been able to touch Jeff Burton today. Hey, before we break away, let me ask you a few questions because you know me. I played varsity basketball and soccer in high school. I was the NASCAR Winston Cup Rookie of the Year in 1994. I was second in victories on the Winston Cup Series last year with 6 wins. You know me. And we will be right back to introduce one of NASCAR's most popular drivers. Look at all of those clues and see if you can figure out exactly who I am. We'll have the answer for you right after this from Citgo.
Jesus, is there no...
I was Rookie of the Year in 1994. I won 3 straight July races here in Loudon, New Hampshire. You know me. I'm Jeff Burton. And there he is, putting Dale Earnhardt a lap down. 16th place, going a lap down. And now pit stops are beginning. We're at lap 195. Steve Park is coming in for service. Ralph Shaheen is there.
Well, Eli, they're going to make a wedge adjustment on the right rear of this car. They're also making air pressure adjustments as Walt Smith comes around and jacks up the left side of the car. Steve has again been trying to find the right handling on this car. The crew's been working on it all day, and he is away.
Mike Hogwood Hogwood, we saw a short pit stop before for Jimmy Spencer, lap 191. What's the deal there?
Yeah, he had a tire going down, Eli. He had to come in, and unfortunately, you were right. That means he's going to have to make another stop before this race is over.
Here's Mike Skinner. He and Matt Kenseth in at lap number 195. Terry Labonte behind them, lap 196. He comes in, Ralph.
Chassis adjustment for Skinner as well on that right rear. They jack the car up on the left side, just about done, and he is away.
These are all scheduled stops. There goes the Kellogg's team for Terry Labonte. Again, remember, lap here is 1.058 miles around. Just over a mile. Other stops coming place now. Mike Bliss is in the number 27 car. He's at lap 197.
Tires have been incredibly consistent, incredibly reliable. Not much drop-off on any car with the Goodyears they're running here this afternoon. Goodyear's brought a terrific tire.
And they went a full round into the track bar there on the right rear, so they're making the adjustments on the chassis of that car as they leave.
Tony Stewart's in under the watchful eye of Ralph Shaheen.
Another quick chassis adjustment to the right rear of that car, 4 tires, and he is away as well, Eli.
Lap 199, caution. Caution is on the speedway.
That's big.
There's debris that has been spotted on the racetrack at lap 199. And that is huge. It comes out in the middle of the sequencing of stops. There you see the debris on the racetrack, just a tick out of the racing groove, but certainly too close for comfort. And caution is out in lap 200 here in New Hampshire.
Whoa, Earnhardt put a donut on the door of Jeff Burton's car. And did Jeremy unlap himself? Sure looked it.
NASCAR is not even sure. They are going to check and double check the video and make sure that they make the right call as to whether Mayfield is legal there or not. When they get the clear look at it, they will let Jeremy know whether he has to go back or whether he can come around and get the lap. But yeah, temper's getting just a little short again. Jeremy Mayfield did beat the 99. So Jeremy Mayfield is legal. And you see Burton apparently maybe let Mayfield by a little easier, and Earnhardt's not.
Well, he's found a good way to express himself, hasn't he?
And here come the pit stops, and there is the latest issue from Earnhardt Donuts. That's a franchise they have.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Hogwood.
Well, where Jerry Nadeau's pit left side work is done. If this stop had been made under green, they were going to only go for 2 tires. Now, of course, it will be a 4-tire stop. They want to get that fender banked out as well. Ralph?
Another good pit stop for Dale Jarrett. Remember, this car was just a little bit tight. They made a quick chassis adjustment, new tires. He's away, Glenn.
Wow, great pit stop for Jeff Burton. He got 4 tires, fuel, and some power aid for himself. Down and away. No chassis adjustment. Jeff had reported the car was much better in the center of the corner. It had been just a little tight, but they decided not to make too much of an adjustment on the car at this point because he's led every lap.
So there we are under caution, and you see all those pieces of rubber, all the chunks of rubber and debris. NASCAR bringing out not only that sweeper, but further back behind that truck, they do have the jet blower out there, and they are going to clean that entire back straightaway off and go up into turn number 3 and continue the cleanup as well. So the bottom line is Burton lets Mayfield by. Earnhardt did not get his lap back.
After you get done,
We are back with you live at New Hampshire International Speedway. A chance now for Dick Berggren to chat with Rusty Wallace. Rusty's carrying one of our radios while we're under caution.
Hi, Rusty. Can you hear us?
I do. Go ahead.
What's it like out there with these restrictor plates?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of them. The car, you can't pass, and it's pretty tough out there right now.
You had a long pit stop, went in 4th, came out 9th. What happened, Rusty?
I got into pits a little too hot and got on the fella changed the right front air. I got on his air hose. I guess cut the flow off. And just a bunch of times. So just had to try to make it up. That's about it. That was a huge loss just then because you can't pass. And we'll see how we get this thing. See how far I can get up there.
All right. Good luck to you this afternoon.
So, Rusty Wallace, we thank him for allowing us to chat with him here live under the caution. And there's the pit summaries. See where Rusty dropped to 9th. Jerry Nadeau back to 7th spot.
Eli, I was noticing Rusty Wallace has a little bit of damage on the right front corner of his car also, very similar to Nadeau. Not enough to hurt the car all that much, but it has changed the airflow on the front of that car.
Jeff Gordon on that list there from 8th to 6th, so he'll pick up a couple of spots. Hey, folks, by the way, Phoenix International Raceway still has some great tickets left for their upcoming big NASCAR weekend, November 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The ticket office is open right now and all weekend long and all the time leading up to the event at that number you see on the screen, 602-252-2227. Or if you'd like, you can visit their website at phoenixinternationalraceway.com, and that, of course, is available to you 24 hours a day. So love to see you there out in the Valley of the Sun when TNN heads in that direction in the month of November. You saw the jet blower go by seconds ago, so they're still cleaning some of the debris up off the track. We're going to break away for a moment. TNN Sports live coverage of the VerisRacing.com Dura Lube 300, sponsored by Kmart, is being brought to you by Ford Outfitters. No boundaries. Welcome back, everybody, as we continue here at New Hampshire International Speedway. Jeff Burton continues as our race leader. Let's go down to pit road right now. Well, there's John Andretti. Mike Hogwood.
And boy, he is running great today as his team pumped up here. They gave him a magnificent pit stop. He gained 2 positions here on pit road. John Andretti very excited about the work done on here on pit road and says he's going to try to do the rest from his 5th position. Ralph Shaheen.
Well, there's an interesting problem developing for Dale Jarrett on the right front tire. Now, brake ducting is usually a very soft, squishy piece that is actually put on the car to pull air through the nose of the car to cool the brakes down. Well, it runs very closely to the inside of the tires. Now, the brake duct on the right front is rubbing on that inside of the right front tire. And they're very afraid that it might be rubbing too much and could cause a tire problem. They've seen it on both sets of tires that they put on the car. I've asked one of their tire specialists about it. He said, is this something you really need to be concerned about? They said, yes, it's getting worse with each set of tires.
So that's what's happening down on the number 88 car. Meanwhile, as we are still under caution, Dick, why don't you grab the radio and see if John Andretti's at home?
Hello, John Andretti. Dick Bergman at TNN. Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
John, how good is that car? It looks real good from here.
I've been real happy with the Cheerios Betty Crocker Pontiac since we got here. We just had a little bit of misfortune in qualifying, and we're real happy with it in happy hour, and it stayed real consistent all day. I wish the sun would come out a little more because I think my car gets a little better in the sun.
Only 4 more cars to pass, John. Can you do it?
It's a lot easier getting to them than it passing them right now. We'll see what we can do, and hopefully we can get some opportunities here and be able to get around them. But we ran green till the end. That also helped me as well because my car seems to stay pretty consistent over the whole long haul.
All right, well, good luck this afternoon, John.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
And we again appreciate John Andretti allowing us to chat with him here under the caution. Track cleanup continues. We return to New Hampshire right after this.
Winnebago Industries, the official motorhome of TNN Sports. For information on Winnebago Industries products or the Winnebago Motorsports team, call 1-800-643-4892. New for all race fan families, introducing the Simpson Child Car Safety Seat, available soon at these racing places. For more information, visit our website at www.simpsonraceproducts.com. Mack Trucks are furnished by Clement Chevy Mack Sales. For all your truck and tractor needs, call Clement at 1-800-369-MACK. Chase Authentics is the authentic trackside apparel of NASCAR. Authentic racing apparel you'll find on hot drivers. Chase Authentics.
13 cars on the lead lap as the field has just now gotten the 1 to go signal. Still chasing Jeff Burton, who has led every one of the 211 laps today. By the way, we talked to John Andretti seconds ago. The last top 5 finish he had, and he's running 5th right now, was June of last year at Sears Point when he finished 3rd. His last top 5 on an oval track was his win at Martinsville back in April of '99. So of the many fellas, he is due for a strong run and seems to be having it here on the flat track. All right, Jeff Burton, Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett, Ricky Rudd, and John Andretti.
3 wide. That's not right.
That's not right coming to the restart.
All right, sir. Race starts off. You ready? You ready? And ready. Green, 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 green. Green flag, green flag.
213 of 300.
Jimmy Spencer trying to get back on the tail end of the lead lap. Really drives it down there under Burton.
Jimmy Spencer is 2 laps down, looking to get 1 of his laps back. In that exchange, we ride with Bill Elliott, who's also a lap down. Now Spencer gets 1 of his laps back.
So far, this is a nervous time for the leaders of this race when you've got the lap cars out there trying to make up their lap. And toward the end of the race, got to be really careful, but you got to be fast too.
Jeff Gordon just got tagged in the corner down there. The smoke just flew off the left rear corner. I just wonder if it's rubbing now because there was a lot of contact as they entered the corner down there.
Shot 3 wide there with Mark Martin involved.
Again, look what happened going into turn 2 on the last lap, right down there in the lower right.
Watch Jeff Gordon right there. Earnhardt gets into the left rear corner there. I'm telling you, that was severe contact. They were very lucky. Trouble in turn 1.
Big trouble. Turn 1. You've got Mayfield, you've got Chad Little in the green machine. Kevin LePage there on the bottom of your screen. They come to the caution.
And Spencer had been passed by Jeff Burton in the 99. He will not get his lap back.
No, sir. Couldn't hang out there and still shows himself 2 laps down. So you have LePage along with Chad Little and Jeremy Mayfield. Lap number 216 in turn number 1. The first multi-car incident of the day.
Boy, tremendous damage there to the right front corner of Mayfield's car. Kevin LePage there has some damage to his car. He's spun in that same incident. You see the right front is smoke pouring off of it.
1 year ago, Kevin LePage and crew chief Pat Trayson got together. It's just how they wanted to celebrate their anniversary. Let's see what happens here again, going off into turn 1.
Just a pile of cars all together, everybody tight. Stacy Compton gets sideways, and that starts it.
Michael Waltrip, good driving to get through all of that.
And Mayfield collected both the wall and got nailed by another car as well. He's been on all 4 corners. LePage all bent up. Rick Mast damage to the left rear quarter of that race car.
So Rick comes in, so does LePage at lap 217. This the 3rd caution flag of the day. Gone are Ricky Craven, along with Scott Pruitt, Brett Bodine, and Kenny Wallace. Bobby Hamilton was in the garage for an extended stay earlier. And has since returned. He is still running 40 laps down. After he came back out, Bobby Hamilton has not lost any laps. Interestingly, he lost 40 and is still 40 laps down. So once they get the car dialed back up, he's been able to stay out there and has not lost a lap to Jeff Burton.
Local racer Kevin LePage with the front end of that car all bent up. He's from Shelburne, Vermont, nearby town.
Jimmy Spencer, you see top of your screen. He comes down pit road. Crew will go to work right there on the right side of the big Kmart machine.
He'll take on all four, I'm almost sure. I mean, he pulled in. He's already lost the track position. Why not get four and hope that you can make up some ground on the leaders, because he is behind now.
Ted Musgrave comes in. So too Terry Labonte, Darrell Waltrip, he's in. Dave Blaney is in. Robert Presley. All of these teams opting for service. Let's see what Ward Burton saw of that accident.
And they're all jacked up in front of him. Blaney nails the 12 car at Mayfield, and then Ward piles into the back end of Mayfield. From Bobby Hamilton's point of view, it's already going on in front of him. Hamilton takes the low route through the lawn.
A definite Kodak moment.
Yeah, good dirt driver there. He just went right out through the grass and stayed away from all the trouble.
They thought they had a real shot to win this race. Hamilton and McClure team.
Did you say Kodak moment?
No, Eli said that. It was a picture-perfect drive away from what would have been an ugly crash.
We were trying to see what was going to develop.
I shudder to think of what he might say next.
Oh, boy.
Your turn. Kenny Schrader is in. Ward Burton back in. All of these stops now on lap number 218.
A lot of work going on the front end of Ward Burton's car. Tearing away the sheet metal on that fender. So Jeff Burton gets another opportunity to have to wrestle with a guy that wants to get his lap back.
After the accident, Kevin LePage, that crew led by Pat Trayson, still working.
A little bit better friend there on the inside this time, though. They are teammates.
Yep.
Pace car's off. Ready car's coming around. Ready. And
Matt Green on the bottom of the 17, the rookie. Oh boy, no problem for Burton this time.
Wouldn't have mattered if it were friend or foe. They wouldn't have kept up with that restart.
No, and I think everybody knew what was going to happen too. The instant the green flag came out, Burton's spotter just said, clear low, clear low, clear low, and it was.
Laps complete. Jeff Burton has led every one of them. There's that Midas wall cam brought to you by the new Midas. We're a whole new way to keep a good thing going.
Jeff Burton doing what he has done all day, just running off with the thing.
And that speaks highly of Matt Kenseth. Even though he is a team member, he moved up and let Bobby Labonte have the lower side of the racetrack, and he goes right on by.
Well, one day Labonte will return the favor. Kenseth, the real gentleman racer.
There onto the high side.
Jarrett, the 88, is running in third position.
The car was really moved up. He had dropped back because he got caught in the pits the stop before this. But Jeff Gordon, he's all the way back up to fourth right now and looks to have one of the cars to beat.
There's a battle for position with John Andretti on the outside, Ricky Rudd on the bottom. Jeff Gordon just up in front. Earnhardt, the black number 3, is lapped down. Kind of thought Gordon was going to do a little bit more with this situation than he has done. He has run it so well here at New Hampshire Speedway. A couple of poles. He's won here 3 times.
And interesting, he's won from 21st starting, from 13th, and from the pole.
Yeah, and he's got one of the cars that he has won with here, number 24-34. He's run that same race car here 6 times and won with it also also won a pair of poles, so it's a terrific race car. Jeff surely knows what he's doing. He runs this track extremely well. Look at Earnhardt with the front bumper.
That's bump drafting. You hear us talk about that. Earnhardt gets up under the 20 there and just gives him a shove, trying to get him by his own teammate there, Mike Skinner.
Well, you know he's thinking championship points. The guy that he is battling for that championship, Bobby Labonte, currently running in second position, Earnhardt in 14th. So Earnhardt's down points, a bunch of them, with where he's running right now. Every spot he can pick up are points earned.
John Andretti just went by Jeff Gordon on the high side there. They're still side by side as they head into turn 3. But I just wondered when Gordon got hit there on the left rear, you see a lot of damage behind the tire there on the left rear quarter, if it didn't hurt the car just a little bit.
Working lap 225 of 300. We're sitting here thinking, you know, we've not seen as many engine failures as a lot of folks figured we might. Ralph, I don't know, you talked to a lot of folks in the garage, and some of them figured maybe a third of the field would go away with engine problems today. Not the case.
No, so far so good, Eli. To give you an idea just how much went into this process, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, which is, of course, Steve Park and Dale Earnhardt Jr., they went to Milwaukee and tested. They took 3 cars to Milwaukee. They took a total of 9. They built 9 engines for this race. They took 18 transmissions to the test and spent countless dollars and hours working in the dyno room. In fact, Richard Childress, his team was finally sent home by the local police department. They were tired of hearing the dynos late into the night. A lot of teams work 24-hour shifts with different crew members coming in at different times, keeping those dynos going non-stop. It was a long process to get these teams ready to go racing. I have heard budgets that figure as much as $250,000 from some upper management people to get ready for this one race.
It wasn't just dynos either. There's a machine called the Spintron where the engine doesn't run at all, but the Spintron just spins it over. And a lot of these motors, or at least motors like these, were run on Spintrons for as much as 500 miles to make sure that they had reliability.
If you're a Jeremy Mayfield fan, he's done for the day. They cannot replace the parts that they had to after the accident on the Mobil 1 team. So Glenn, Mayfield is going to come home around 38th spot today. Matter of fact, Mike Hogwood's made his way to the garage right now.
Yeah, we're with Jeremy. You were saying this has not only been a tough day, it's been a tough month.
Yeah, it's been a real tough month. We, you know, we just keep fighting back, and seem like we get close and we fall back and get right back in. But we're strong. We've been through a lot worse, and we'll just keep going. And you know, that's what happened. That's racing right there. You know, you just get caught up in stuff, but you just got to keep on. And just want to thank Mobil 1 and Goodyear and everybody involved here that just hang with us here.
Jeremy Mayfield's going to bounce back.
He came from 30th qualifying spot to the front here back in July of '98 and was running 8th with 8 laps to go, and he cut a tire, sent him into the wall. But he'll have his day again here in New Hampshire. Back with you at New Hampshire. Quick reminder about wrenchhead.com with millions of brand name auto parts and accessories to choose from. It is really easy to prove you're a wrench head. Are you a wrench head? Wrenchhead.com, parts online all the time. Eli Gold, Dick Bergman, Wrenchhead Baker over there in the corner.
Lunchbox talking. Yes.
Glenn Jarrett, Ralph Sheheen, Mike Hogwood down on the pit lane and in the garage area. 2:34 on the board, 66 laps to go. You know, you hate to talk about a pitcher throwing a no-hitter, and then he goes out and gives up a base hit. But do you realize only once in the history of NASCAR has a super speedway race had one guy lead every single lap?
You may see twice today.
The late Fireball Roberts led all 178 laps on a track in Hanford, California that measured 1.4 miles around, and that made it technically a super speedway. 5 times in NASCAR history has one driver led every race lap, and that would be including short tracks. The last time it happened, Cale did it. Cale Yarborough, back in June of '78, he led all 420 laps in Nashville. But sometimes hate to bring that up, but hey, it's part of the storyline now. Jeff Burton trying to do something that only Fireball Roberts has done.
Yeah, and it's not just here he has run so well. Remember the Southern 500 a couple of weeks ago? Almost won it, second in the rain. Remember Richmond last week? Second, won the pole, led the most laps. Let me tell you what, that 99 team, this is not a fluke. These guys have been flying week after week, and the championship is not out of their grasp.
You're watching somebody, though, that's falling back in the field in a hurry. Jeff Gordon, he's dropped all the way to 9th. He was running 4th at the green flag when they dropped the green flag again. The car is not up to full song like it was before he got tagged in that corner.
Matter of fact, on the computer, his last lap was only 119.7 miles an hour. Compare that to 124 for the leader Burton, 124.1 for Bobby Labonte.
Oh, he got tagged again.
Look at that.
Chad Little just belted him in the back end. Gordon up now, going to lose a couple more spots.
Nemechek goes by. 10 is Benson going by. Here comes the McDonald's crew. And Bill Elliott will not let him in. Jimmy Spencer will, however, settle in behind the DuPont car.
Now, Robbie Lewis told me this morning that they really had a momentum problem, that once yesterday in the practice session they got out of the groove and it just seemed to take them forever to get going again, but Lewis thought that would be the case with every car.
Watch it again there, lower right, coming through. Chrome horned him right out of the way.
It is.
Chad Little.
Look at that left rear corner there. You can tell it's supposed to go straight down behind the wheel there. It's back almost to the rear bumper.
It's supposed to say Quaker State, and it says Quacker. Just Quacker. That's about it. 240 laps complete. 60 to go. Jeff Burton has not been touched all day. Hey, folks, check out the IHRA Summit Drag Racing Series tonight here on TNN. You'll see the standard drag racing classes, plus the Wild Pro mods, and the 200-mile-an-hour Nitro Harleys. That's tonight, 10:30 Eastern and Pacific, here on TNN. There is Bill Elliott, just wrapped up his burnout. Unfortunately, that's not part of this type of racing. Bill's okay. You see him moving around, but he brings out caution for the 4th time here today. Lap 246. Bill Elliott spins here after running in 18th spot.
He can't see what I see. He's trying to get the car off the racetrack, but the rear end housing's turned all the way to the left, and the right front corner is down on the car, so he's not going anywhere.
That thing is bent big time.
By the way, if you're a Ricky Craven fan, he has just returned from the garage. He is 40 laps down, but Craven is back out there, but his place in the garage will be taken by Bill Elliott, who, as you clearly see, is moving around.
That's the other thing. You know, he broke his knee in an accident there in his shop at home, and right now he can't even walk to the ambulance. If you see him carrying him out of there, it's because he's already injured. He went to the car today on crutches.
All right, so
matter of fact, they're bringing his crutches over right now. Under the crew guys, you'll be seeing right there near the top of your screen, you see him holding the crutches and giving them to the emergency workers to help Bill along.
Oh, dear.
That hurts just looking, doesn't it?
Yep, it does.
The leaders have stayed on the racetrack. You see Bill saying, I'm all right, I'm all right. We have seen pit stops from a few. Gordon has been in. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Benson, and Schrader.
This is a reflection of how important track position is and how good those tires are. If this were Darlington, Rockingham, a lot of other places, everybody would have been in. But given what we have seen so far today, the big guns have stayed out.
He got touched there by Dale Earnhardt Jr. Yes.
Sure did. The replay showed what happened there. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Here's another view. Watch him right there in the middle. Clip right there from Earnhardt Jr. Said Bill Elliott spinning. So the air deflector flaps come up on the top of the car. We have another view from up on high.
Well, Bill turns hard left there. He was going to try to get by the 31 of Mike Skinner, and unfortunately Earnhardt Jr. was already there. They made contact there.
We have a helicopter view. Watch it here.
Watch him turn right there, and then they make contact.
Bill had actually started turning first. You're right. The helicopter view really shows that. Good eyes, buddy.
Nice job, Buddy Baker.
Remember, Bill Elliott has been carrying an onboard camera all day.
Right there.
I'd like to see that wall coming like that.
That's a mean lick.
It is. He hit pretty hard.
Now, some teams have elected to make pit stops. Gordon has been in, we told you. Earnhardt Jr., Benson and Schrader. Steve Park has come in. So is Compton. Others making stops are Michael Waltrip, Elliott Sadler, Rick Mast, and a host of others who are many laps down. But the leaders have stayed out, now with 51 laps to go. On hand here, the temperature has climbed up into the 50s. When it dawned today, it was 43 degrees, 48 when we went on the air, and we have a bit of a warm snap now. It's up to the 50s. Again, under caution for the 4th time, Bill Elliott, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
No doubt he thought he was clear on the bottom, that he was going to be able to get down there without tangling with the number 8 car of Earnhardt Jr. That is probably the most frequent cause of racing accidents, is drivers thinking they are clear when in fact they are not. And when this game is a matter of sometimes quarter inches, this can be the result.
I know it sounds silly, but you don't realize how fast these guys are going sometimes. You almost become desensitized until they go sideways.
And remember, there are no side mirrors in virtually any of these cars. 1 or 2 of them have got them, but most of them don't have them, so the drivers just rely on their rear view mirror, their side mirror. Don't try that on the interstate highway. It's tough enough to know that you're clear high or low on the interstate when you're going to make a pass or move back into line again.
That was a classic broken rear end or bent rear end housing you saw there. There you see what we had talked about earlier. Cale Yarborough led every lap in Nashville in 1978. One of 5 drivers to have ever swept every single lap of a single race. And the only time it's been done again on the super speedway was back in 1961. Fireball Roberts turned the trick.
Eli, how do you say excitement on restarts here?
Yeah.
Jeff Burton's led every lap of this race, but Earnhardt wants that lap back, and they have made contact not long ago.
Now, Earnhardt is a lap down, remember, in the 3. He is running in 14th spot, the first car a lap down.
This could be real good. Real good.
Now, if it gets too ugly, Jeff Burton just says, go ahead.
Now, Bobby
Still a mile down.
Give me my 5 bonus points for leading the lap.
Green flag is in the air. Earnhardt's going to try and hang with him on the inside. To try and get a lap back. So Earnhardt now on the tail end of the lead lap. Burton smart. Did not force the issue.
Exactly right. And he's still leading the race. And if Earnhardt makes up the lap, he still has to come from the back of the field all the way back up. That was a very, very cagey move. But the way that car is running, I'm not sure Earnhardt's going to be able to stay up there.
Of course, it's also a really smart move on Earnhardt's part, because he had to know that Burton really, if no pun intended, push came to shove, he knew that Burton probably wouldn't contest him right there.
And Burton certainly knows that he is the intimidator, and it would not have been a smart thing for Burton to have messed with Dale Earnhardt at a point like that. Absolutely not. Wow, look at this cluster of cars.
Huge pack of traffic.
Boom, boom, boom.
Mark Martin, too. He's running right up front. Well, I'm just doing a little favor for you there, Dick. That's how they talk to me up here. Buddy Baker. And there's Mark Martin going into the corner. Feel better?
Oh, much better. I feel like you're a Yankee now, buddy.
Oh, I hear you.
Sterling Marlin in the number 40 got his hands full here.
Address those cards and letters to Buddy Baker.
Yeah. Joe Nemechek in the 33. A first and a second his last two appearances here. And Burton and Earnhardt going at it again.
This again is to put Earnhardt a lap down.
Well, a little shove and push there.
And here comes Bobby Labonte. He'll try and take the lead for the first time today.
I'm not going to say I told you so. Oh, Bobby down on the flat part of the racetrack and couldn't make it stick.
Can anybody grab the lead from Jeff Burton? Not this time.
That was impressive by Jeff Burton. Holding on. Bobby Labonte on the bottom.
So Dale Earnhardt is back on the tail end of the lead lap, running in 14th. And Jeff Burton still has led every single lap today. 257 of them.
We got a great battle right behind this bunch right now. Down the back straightaway, they were side by side. It's over with now, but the 28 car coming off the corner got a great run on John Andretti there. And Ricky Rudd just motored right by him.
Get a chance to see this again. 3 wide on the backstretch.
Meanwhile, at the top of your screen, there goes Burton putting Earnhardt a lap down. That is live. But Earnhardt will try and come right back if he can. So much going on.
Oh, he drives on the inside, down in the corner. And gets the fender up the side of him, Eli.
Again, this is not for position, but it is to keep Earnhardt a lap down if Burton can.
It looks like it's for the win of the Daytona 500 as Burton's hand goes out the window, gesturing to Earnhardt. Good thing we didn't see that gesture up close. I'm not sure what he was saying.
He was just checking to see which way the wind was blowing.
I'm sure. I couldn't tell if that fist was open or closed.
What this has actually done, though, from second, third, fourth, and fifth, they were inches apart behind these guys.
If that.
Now let's see if we can
the hand
see.
out the window.
Now, I don't know what that hand gesture was, but he certainly leaned the hand out and waved it in Dale's direction. But we couldn't tell from the shadows and all.
We don't guess.
Now Earnhardt is definitely clearly a lap down again, but by 0.4 of a second, Labonte and Burton pulling away.
And when he knew it was over, when he knew he couldn't get his lap back, Earnhardt just pulled over and let Bobby Labonte go. Let him have at it with Jeff Burton. He knows he's the only other one that's really got a shot at him, Labonte.
And if Burton was going to wave again, this time he'd be waving bye-bye as he pulls away by over a lap on Dale Earnhardt.
I don't think Earnhardt's going to let all these guys survive. And Jarrett's going to have a tough time getting by him. So will Ricky Rudd and John Andretti.
Downstairs, Kim Burton, no doubt keeping an eye on things. Glenn Jarrett.
Yes, she is, Eli, and we might want to point out that Kim is pregnant and expecting another child, the second child, and I asked her when she was due. She said sometime within the next 2 or 3 weeks, unless Dale Earnhardt gets up under Jeff again, and she might have the baby today.
Guys, let's talk about what we've seen today as the laps now click down here, the final 37 miles of this race. What do you think? Has the restrictor plate, from a competition standpoint, made a hill of beans difference today? I really don't see it. It's been a good race. It's been competitive. Yes, maybe the field has been bunched up a little bit more at times than we've seen, but I think maybe from a safety standpoint, it helped. But from a competition standpoint, I don't see it as a factor there.
I would would tend to agree, Eli. I think we've seen a fairly typical race here. The only atypical thing is Jeff Burton's domination of this event. And clearly they put an extraordinary amount of effort into preparation for this event. And that's one of the things that happens. Those who work harder get better results in any kind of racing, whether it's Winston Cup or Saturday night at Star Speedway. It's all the same kind of deal. We've seen a good competitive race here in virtually every position but first.
Yeah, and you just think about the last couple of races up here.
For example, right there.
Yep. We'll see how that comes about. There you see the 2 car there, Rusty Wallace, gets tagged a little bit. But that comes from going in the corner, so very, very hard. But I've been up here when Tony Stewart just drove away from everybody when they didn't have the restrictor plate.
Sure.
I've watched Jeff Burton come from 38th and win the race here. You know, so, and just dominate the whole day. So the good cars are still running well. And Tony Stewart's car now is running with the front bunch.
And by the way, guys, if it stays as is, Jeff Burton would gain 15 points on Bobby Labonte. That's if things stay exactly as they are now. And that means that Jeff would be only 168 behind with 8 laps to go. It was a much bigger deficit that Alan Kulwicki had against Bill Elliott at Dover. Shortly after 12:30 this afternoon, the green flag flew here in New Hampshire. 95 laps in, Scott Pruitt found the wall to bring out the first caution of the day. At lap 215, this tangle in turn number 1 brought out our 3rd caution. And then as Bill Elliott and Dale Earnhardt Jr. got together, Bill Elliott found the wall, lap 246, and the 4th caution flag of the afternoon. That's how things have gone. There you see Jeff Burton, and I know before the commercial break, I said that Jeff Burton would draw closer to Bobby Labonte with 8 laps to go. Obviously, I meant to say 8 races remaining, and how this is, again, not without precedent, talking about when Bill Elliott left Dover with a 252-point lead, if memory serves. And next thing you know, Alan Kulwicki is the man celebrating at the Waldorf Astoria. So, and that, as a matter of fact, in that day, and that year with the schedule the way it was with 6 races remaining when everybody left over. So you never know what can happen in this business. There's Johnny Benson. You know, he didn't qualify that well, but he was quick in practice all weekend, and here he is running in the top 10 again as we near the finish.
That's really no surprise. The reason he didn't qualify well, they went for the pole, and he just lost it a little bit in his qualifying run. And you know, people have been amazed at Johnny Benson and James Ince, how well they have done this year. They shouldn't be. They are both absolutely first-class racers. As for Benson, expect results. Remember, he was a short track champ, an ASA champ, a Busch Grand National champ. He's got a solid crew chief who he believes in and who believes in him. A team that has been welded together. They thought they were going to be completely out of business just a few races ago, and they kept saying, all we want to do is stick together, even if we can't run every race. And it's that kind of stuff, the people stuff, that really matters.
And the one thing, I talked to Johnny Benson this morning, and we had breakfast together, and he was talking about the one thing he was really concerned about was when they get in traffic, whether he could pull out and pass. Well, he's done a great job. He was within 3 car lengths of going a lap down when the first caution came out, but he battled back, made adjustments to the car, and done a great job on it, driving all day long.
There's a good battle, 6th and 7th. Rusty Wallace, Jerry Nadeau. Quietly, both men have had their good and bad spots today.
And they banged wheels together, working on each other just a few laps ago. Rusty Wallace with that pit stop that put him back in 9th position. He's made up some spots since then, now running in 6th spot. Car hasn't been quite as good as it has been in many of the other races this year. It's hard to imagine, but coming into today, we had 25 races down. Rusty had led the most laps in 6 of them. That's 25% of the races this year. Rusty Wallace had led the most laps. Indeed, coming into today, he had led more laps than the guy that was 2nd, 3rd, and 4th combined had led in laps.
That's 11th place right there. Oh, problems. Steve Park and Chad Little. Steve Park American Chad Little off turn number 4. Caution for the 5th time. Lap 277. So Chad Little, who is involved in the 3rd caution of the day, and Steve Park. They tangle off turn number 4. And Jeff Burton's going to have to sweat out another restart.
Steve getting out of the car, a little dejected, I'm sure, checking the right front corner over. As of yet, Chad hadn't got out. There's the window net down, so that means he's okay. You know, the spotters do a great job. The guys up on top of the racetrack up here where we're at, as far as telling the guys where these cars are stopped. Every car was coming around. All the fast cars were coming around off the corner behind this bunch, and they told them go low, and not one car even come close to hitting these cars sitting right in the middle of the racetrack.
Steve Park walked around a little bit, cooled off a little bit. Now he's over with the 97 Chad Little, having a conversation with him.
Okay, they're explaining what happened there. I see him making hand gestures there.
He has 4 wins here in the modified, Steve Park does. A win in the Busch North Series car. These guys actually got together about a half lap earlier. Watch this here. This is about a half lap before the accident.
That's Jimmy Spencer there in the 26. They make a little contact.
Well, 3 wide, you're going to have contact here at New Hampshire.
Now, that was that one pack of traffic. Now here's what happened at the other end.
Kenny Schrader.
Oh, yeah. Schrader shoves him out of the way. Oh, and there was Skinner coming up. That's what happened.
Yep.
So
Steve Park was in the throttle just as hard as he could go, and he just got right into a car that is slowed. So, I mean, there was nothing that either one of them could do.
See, that replay showed there where Schrader shoved Chad out of the way.
Right.
Got him out of control.
Not Chad's fault. Might have looked that way to Steve Park from what he saw.
But the camera tells the story right there. So it looks like the leaders are staying out, certainly. 20 laps to go. 20 laps for Jeff Burton to try and pull off a win and join Fireball Roberts in the record book. Hey, folks, coming up on Saturday here on TNN, the NASCAR Busch Series boys go to the Monster Mile in Dover. Can you say sheet metal damage? 200 grueling laps in one of NASCAR's toughest tracks. Don't miss it. The MBNA.com 200. Saturday at 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific, right here on TNN Sports. Track cleanup continues, so the pace car leads the field down pit road. Glenn, I don't know if Jeff Burton is concerned, but he certainly didn't need another restart, did he?
Oh, no, not at all. They're not. Obviously, when you've got a lead like that in a race car like that, you don't want to see another caution come out. We'll get a word from Frankie Stoddard here. He's looking at some stuff on the pit lane right now where they got the guys coming through. And Frankie, twice now the caution's come out. You've elected to stay out. I guess when it ain't broke, you don't fix it.
Well, we did that last week, and it came back to bite us. But no, the car's been pretty good all day. Jeff's done a great job driving it, saved the tires all day. Guys done a good job in the pits. But I just felt like our lap times did look pretty good, and 24 didn't go anywhere when he came back. When he put tires on, he hasn't gone anywhere. I knew that if we came, 5 or 6 guys would stay, and we'd have to fight through them. I didn't really want to have to put Jeff through that. He's done a good job at the front, so let him stay there.
Didn't want to see that caution, though.
No, not really. We'd love to just keep on going the way it is, but we'll be okay. Just get a good restart here and about probably 15 laps to go and see what happens.
Guys, we can't say enough about what an impressive race car and what an impressive job these guys have done here today. Here's Ralph.
Well, I'm with Todd Parrott, crew chief for Dale Jarrett. Well, you've got a handful of laps to go and you're sitting in third. Do you have enough car to get around them for the win?
Well, I don't know if we got enough car, but the guy that's going to be lining up on the inside on this restart may help the whole situation out. Earnhardt down on the bottom, trying to get his lap back. Racing was pretty good there a while ago, and our car's just a little bit loose this time. I guess we got it freed up a little bit too much. All in all, it's been pretty close all day. Been a top 5 car, and anything can happen. Earnhardt's up front trying to get a lap back, and he's racing up here with the points situation the way it is, so it should be pretty exciting.
Glenn Jarrett.
Okay, we've moved up to talk to Jimmy Maycar now. Jimmy, you've had a couple of chances now on restarts. Just hadn't been able to do anything with Jeff Burton. Got anything left on this last one?
I don't know. Jeff's awful strong. He's been good all day long. I don't know that he's shown everything he's got yet, but it's about as good as we've been all day, and the 28 and the 88 look awful good right now too. Those 4 cars are pretty even right now. Track position is going to be everything unless somebody makes a mistake. So we're going to try and be sitting there in case somebody makes a mistake.
Well, I guarantee you one thing, guys. Bobby Labonte will not take any chances. He'll go away from here with a second-place finish and be happy.
Track cleanup continues. 17 laps to go. TNN Sports live at New Hampshire International Speedway. Hey, folks, coming up Saturday on TNN, the Pennzoil World of Outlaws will take the greatest show on dirt to Nebraska. It's an important points race for the king of the Outlaws, Steve Kinzer, and Sammy Swindell. Check out the Cornhusker Shootout Saturday night at 9 Eastern and Pacific right here on TNN Sports. All right, coming to the green. 285 laps are complete of the 300.
Look who's on the inside again.
Green.
Earnhardt wants a lap back. And the Odyssey begins again.
Oh, little contact there in the center part of the corner, but what a rocket ship that 99 is off the corner there. Jeff Burton just streaks right on by Earnhardt.
Burton has led every single lap, all 286 to the moment.
And he has put Earnhardt away. That was his biggest challenge at the moment.
Puts him a lap down again, and now Bobby Labonte and Jarrett and Rudd would have to deal with Earnhardt trying to get by back to Jeff Burton. Sterling Marlin in the 40, a lap down in 15th. That's for position. That's 5th place. Rusty Wallace in the 2, John Andretti in the 43.
John Andretti having a big afternoon today. Just one top 10 so far. This would be his best finish of the year. And he can stay where he is.
Bobby Labonte trying on the outside there. That is not the preferred groove.
Trouble in 1.
Jeff Gordon was involved.
There's Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jerry Nadeau, Ward Burton. The leader coming off the corner. And we have caution on the speedway yet again. Lap 289.
And this will be a single file restart this time.
Rick Masters involved there in the Conseco car. There's Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Boy, Earnhardt's car is really bad. Ward's car is badly bad.
That's the second time that Ward Burton's been in an accident today. The car was damaged before this wreck, but I think this time is a tremendous amount of damage to it.
And as the doctor says, when this race gets back to green, we will be inside the final 10 laps of the race. So the 10-lap rule will be in effect. Only those cars on the lead lap can start up front, and it will be a single file restart among those teams.
Look at Rick Mast's car. Jeez. The guy who won here in the Busch Series.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. was running in 8th. There's Jerry Nadeau, also involved.
And Jeff Burton's crew is telling him on the radio to be careful that there's fiberglass debris on the racetrack, and they're telling him right where it is and how to avoid it.
And they're grabbing the red flag. They are grabbing the red flag. It has not been shown yet.
Eli, that's a great decision. I applaud him for that, because the outcome of the race is still up at arms right now. And I tell you, there's metal and stuff all the way around the racetrack.
It has not been displayed, but they have stopped all the cars. Now the red is out. That means they also have to stop the work on Jerry Nadeau's car there on pit road. There's Dale Earnhardt.
Parked so he can start without having to use his starter motor, without having to rely on the battery.
A limited amount of banking here. The turn's only 12 degrees, but any little bit will help you there.
No, they're all doing it. They've seen Earnhardt do it. They're all going to do it.
Eli, there's a tremendous amount of oil drying all down in the corner, but they have such great stuff here that it will not be a problem when you get the restart. They have a vacuum there, one of the biggest you ever want to see.
You see Nadeau, who is running in the top 10, and they have to stop working on the car. Watch it again, see what happens here. There's Nadeau in the 25, 43 Andretti.
Mark Martin.
They all kind of checked up at different speeds.
There goes Gordon sideways down into the grass. Rick Mast in a green car there. Makes contact with the outside wall.
And then Earnhardt Jr. just piled in. Well, they were all running pretty tight, and that's what can happen when one car gets out of control just the slightest little bit. Sweeps up a lot of other people in it.
The crew members from the 25 car have just gone back to the car, and the NASCAR officials chased them away. Here's what Warburton saw. A bit of driving there by Stacy Compton in front of it.
Absolutely.
The Kodiak machine.
Ward almost got out of that.
From Bobby Hamilton's view.
Yeah, he had plenty of time to check up and slow down and do a little agricultural racing there through the infield. Old Bob Bear's lawn for him. Robert Presley's car looking ahead at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Here it comes.
You're able to see Dale Earnhardt Jr. up there on the right of the screen as Robert Presley went by.
Bottom was the place to be in that accident.
The crew kind of wandered over there.
Oh, they want to work on that car so badly, but they can't. The rules won't allow them to touch the car while we're under the red flag.
Warburton under the same situation right there.
Yep, they're all stuck. Can't do a thing to the car.
Glenn, the NASCAR officials have a tough time there keeping these guys at bay.
Yeah, there's more Michael Halligan guys than there are red-coated guys, so the blues outnumbered the red. What happened, they did allow them to go ahead and put the left rear tire on the car because that was work that was in progress before the red came out, because they stopped it completely. But NASCAR did allow them to put the left rear tire on it, let the car back down on the ground. And they tried to sneak in a few other little odd jobs, but they were right there on them and got them to stop that. Now they have moved them completely away from the car. So it's a frustrating time. There's, as you can see, a lot of damage. They're going to have to remove the trunk lid from the car. The exhaust pipe, it's a dual exhaust, or the single exhaust comes out the left side there. It all comes out on that side. They're going to have to pick it up. It's dragging the racetrack. So they got quite a bit of work to do. At least this will give them time to get all their tools ready and get ready. They'll know exactly what to do when NASCAR turns them loose. But it was kind of fun down here for a minute or two.
And frustrating, too, because, as we said, they were running in the top 10 when the accident happened. The crew there for the Caterpillar team, far better behaved. I should not poke and fun. I'm sure they're as interested in getting to work on their car as the other bunch is. Dale Jarrett's crew, they just wait. Their man's in third place as we work track cleanup under what I'm sure will be a very brief red flag here in New Hampshire. Hey, folks, coming up next Saturday, it is a full day of racing here on TNN. The third race of the day will feature an ASA short track war from Indianapolis Raceway Park. The ASA 200 that follows the Pennzoil World of Outlaws at 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific right here on TNN. Of course, remember, we've got the NASCAR Busch Series, the MBNA.com 200 next Saturday afternoon as well. You know, we were talking earlier in the show, Dick, one caution in the first 200 laps, and you said, hey, don't worry, we'll have a bunch in the next 100, and you're exactly right.
Well, toward the end of the race, everybody gets excited, everybody gets wound up. They're all running incredibly close. As you can see right here, is just front bumper to back bumper, and that's what got this thing going. 25, Jerry Nadeau backwards, gets tagged by the 14 of Rick Mast, and then a whole bunch of other people get involved. Earnhardt Jr. up there in that red number 8 Budweiser car. The hood's smoking, radiators popped. His day is done.
In the garage area, obviously Dale Earnhardt Jr. His car is heading that way. Bill Elliott, Kevin LePage, Wally Dallenbach, Jeremy Mayfield, Scott Pruitt, Brett Bodine, and Kenny Wallace. Now the pit road will remain closed until everybody is up and running, and they'll bring the field around, and we'll go back racing with about 7 or 8 laps remaining in the race.
Mark Martin is Dick Berger at TNN. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we don't have many laps. What you going to do? You're going to pitch? You're going to stay out there? What do you think?
We'll stay out. We've got real good tires on.
How have you made out with the restrictor plate thing? Has this worked for you or not?
Well, we've missed the chassis setup on the Valvoline car, but, you know, the car hasn't been as bad as it looks either. We've been hard back in the pack, and these restarts are just killer double file with all this stuff going on. Our lap times haven't been that bad, but we just hadn't been good enough to move up.
You barely made it through that last one. How close did it seem to you?
It was real close because I was the one that caused it. We got come down the front straightaway there, and the 43 car already had some kind of problem, and Jerry was trying to get by him, and he kind of blocked off his run, and we went down in the corner, and whatever trouble Andretti was having, he had it again, and Nadeau had to hit the brakes. We just didn't get on the brakes quick enough.
Okay, well, good luck for the rest of the race.
Thank you.
Mark Martin joining us from the seat of the Valvoline machine. Why don't we show you where everybody is with 10 laps to go? You can pick out your favorites in this mix. Hey, Schrader's having a good run, isn't he?
Sure is.
And he just barely got through the wreck himself a while ago. He got sideways, missed the car that was going up the racetrack, and just barely managed his way by.
Dale Earnhardt 13th, Spencer 18th. Good top 20s for Stacy Compton and Robert Presley. Good to see them doing well.
Still haven't been allowed to touch the cars. Nadeau's car is still sitting. Nobody working on it.
Glenn, how much work does Nadeau's crew have to do when the red flag is pulled back?
How much work does the Nadeau crew have to do, huh?
If the woodchuck could chuck wood.
Don't confuse me. Quite a bit, Eli, and I want to correct something I said a while ago. I said you could see the rear deck lid was hanging off the car. They would remove it. They can't. NASCAR rules mandate that for you to go back out on the racetrack, you have to have a rear spoiler on that race car. So they have somehow got to figure out how to secure that rear deck lid, get it back up on there so that the rear spoiler is still in place. But it's going to take them a while. They're going to lose some time, lose some laps sitting here. They felt like they had a top 5 car, and now all their hopes for a good finish are gone up. They're just going to hope some way that they can keep this car from losing any more time on the racetrack. Tough break. Let's go to Mike Hogwood.
Now they have restarted the cars. They have withdrawn the red, so work can now continue on both the Nadeau and Ward Burton cars. We're back under caution in New Hampshire. Hey folks, experience the madness Friday night on TNN. After those high-flying, car-crushing monster trucks, let it all hang out. See the wildest hour in motorsports on TNN Motor Madness. Friday night, right after wrestling at 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, right here on TNN.
And what a surprise, Mark Martin changed their minds, and they're on pit road taking 4 tires. Right behind him, Jeff Gordon in the 24 also changing tires.
And that will tell you that race drivers won't tell you what they're going to do, so everyone else can do it that's in the same situation right around them that are trying to improve in position.
In the garage area, Mike Hogwood.
We're with Dale Earnhardt Jr., who is involved in that accident that caused this red flag. How did you see things happen?
I didn't really. Obviously, or I'd have made it through it. I knew there was smoke, and somebody reckoned I should have went to the bottom, but I went the wrong way. You know, it's 50-50 chance there. I should have just done what everybody else is doing and stayed on the bottom. I'd have missed it.
What about this race at New Hampshire today? Your opinion?
Just another race to me. I was having a good time.
You're okay?
I'm fine.
All right, Dale Earnhardt Jr. feeling fine. His race car certainly is not.
There you see Johnny Benson's machine as the field will get the 1-to-go signal as they come to the stripe. So at the stripe, it'll be lap 292 complete. They'll get the green at 293 complete out of 300.
You know, we were just talking about how well Johnny Benson was doing in the race and all, and he has a tremendous amount of damage to the car. He's only going to go backwards.
Ricky Craven's car has gone back to the garage area now. He was already some 40 laps down.
Benson back on pit road again with the front end of that car all torn up from the accident. He had such a good run today, worked his way up into the top 10.
There's Nadeau.
And that crew, they did do what they had to do because they have the...
Got that spoiler on.
Got it on there.
He was going for his 5th top 10 in the last 10 races. Jerry Nadeau was. He'll drop back to about 16th or so. As he comes up to speed, he'll be in 16th. All right, coming to the green. If you're just joining us, folks, remember, Jeff Burton has led every single lap. He is 7 laps away from taking every lap of the day, if he can hold off Bobby Labonte and Dale Jarrett. Green flag is in the air.
Good start for Jeff Burton. Schrader held everybody back behind him.
They go around Ward Burton as Rudd makes the move inside Dale Jarrett. So give Rudd 3rd. Here comes a challenge for the lead. But Jeff Burton holds off the challenge.
Yes, exactly what he did. He rockets off the corner there. The 18 car made it a challenge on the bottom of the center part of turns 1 and 2, but couldn't make it stick.
This is going to be something to see.
Ricky Rudd right now looks like he might have been holding back just a little bit. That car is really flying on this restart.
3 wide down the front straightaway. Look at this.
And Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon, they just took on brand new tires on this last pit stop, and he's making them pay off right now.
He runs up on Andretti. Meanwhile, Bobby Labonte thinks about setting sail for the lead. Everywhere you look, there's a battle. That's for 8th place.
Mark Martin with those fresh tires.
And Bobby Labonte's looking over the back quarter panel there, the 99 of Jeff Burton down the front straightaway. This thing's a long way from being over.
Again, there's Mark Martin and Joe Nemechek. That's 8th and 9th. The leader still Jeff Burton. 2nd place, Ricky Rudd going after Bobby Labonte.
Jerry Nadeau back in the pits.
NASCAR black flagging him there, and they're going to hold him there as you watch the battle for 2nd.
Right, just give him a little touch to let him know I'm on the quarter panel.
Caution, a spin in turn 2. Caution is on the speedway. The leader's have it. Sterling Marlin has spun. Caution is on the speedway for the 7th time. Lap 297.
This is not going to be a long caution. Right now, he's back underway on his own, and there's a runoff on the back straightaway where he can get out of harm's way.
Well, let's see. They'll come back here. It'll be 298. If they don't give them the one to go right here, this race is done. We'll have to wait and see. There you see Sterling Marlin with problems on the left side of the Coors machine. We have 297 complete. No indication yet of a one-to-go signal. No indication yet. Frankie Stoddard looking on, waiting. No, there is no one to go. So 298, the white flag comes out next time, and the race will be done because you'd have one more lap to come around to get a restart, but the race would be done. So as long as Jeff Burton can make it around, this race is over. Kim Burton doing the same mathematics that we have, and she knows that her husband will join the legendary Fireball Roberts as the only driver in NASCAR history to lead every lap in a super speedway race. Fireball Roberts did it in 1961 in Hanford, California. And this will be only the 6th time in NASCAR history altogether that we will have a driver lead every lap of a race. Let's go and check in with crew chief Frankie Stoddard.
Well, Frankie Stoddard is here. He's saying the last couple of words to his driver. Frankie, you guys spent a lot of time testing, getting ready for this. Is that the difference in allowing you to lead all the laps here today?
Well, we'll see if we make it one more lap around this place. Guys at the shop, my hat's off to them. They worked till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. My road crew, them guys worked day and night to get everything ready. Flew with me to Milwaukee and stuff. And, you know, it felt like we come here and this was a really good position to put ourselves in to gain some points on the 18. We gained 10 points, but we did our, if we make one more lap, we did our job. The Exide team did a great job, and I want to dedicate this thing on my behalf to Stuff Fadden. You know, all the things that he taught me over the years. He's a little sick right now, but he's gonna make it out of that okay. And my prayers are with him. Love him to death, and I appreciate everything he's done for me.
Eli, as you know, Stuff Fadden, a legend here in the Northeast, and Frankie Stoddard worked for him, and all of us here at TNN Sports send our best wishes out to Stuff.
Definitely so. A true legend as ever there could be in the Busch North Series of NASCAR. On the spotting stand, the Exide team is a winner. Kim Burton smiling. This will be the 6th race of this season that has ended under caution. It will be the 3rd win of the year for Jeff Burton after winning at Las Vegas and Daytona. And it will be his 4th New Hampshire victory in 12 events. And of course, restrictor plate racing, it'll be the 4th win for Jack Roush. 2 at Talladega with Mark Martin, 1 at Daytona with Jeff Burton, and now 1 here in New Hampshire. So the testing, it all pays off. And folks, you've seen something that rarely happens. One driver leading every single lap in a NASCAR race.
Burton's fellow drivers now passing him, congratulating him.
Remarkable. You don't see that kind of domination. Only the 6th time in NASCAR history it's happened. TNN Sports live coverage of the VerisRacing.com Dura Lube 300, sponsored by Kmart, has been brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. Everybody going through post-race inspection, the type of which you normally only see at Daytona and Talladega. Checking out those restrictor plates as Jeff Burton is back at his home away from home. Victory Lane here in New Hampshire. Glenn Jarrett's down there.
I'm pretty far from him right now because all the stuff's been thrown around. Come on down here, Jeff Burton. Before I do anything else, I want to touch you because nobody else has been able to do it all day long. Man, what a dominating performance.
Yes.
lead every lap. I never knew you could do that in any form of racing, but it's a great day for us. We guys worked real hard. They earned it. They worked their butts off all week. We went to Milwaukee, spent a full day testing. We put a lot of effort into this. When they announced the rule, we went after it real aggressively. And I need to say thank you to Bobby Labonte. He drove me really clean there at the end. I pinched him off pretty tight, and he let me go. He could have stayed in there and would have easily been able to say it was my fault, and I appreciate him doing that for me.
Well, your wife Kim's got a baby coming. Well, I guess you both do have a baby coming pretty soon. This is a nice way to bring that on there. But at one time, I thought she was going to have it today when you was racing Earnhardt to keep him a lap down.
Well, he was showing me his displeasure and not letting him have his lap back. But you know, we're racing him for the championship, and he's pretty tough. So when you race him, you got to be tough. You just got to do what he would do, and that's what I did. And just real proud of all these guys. They did a great job. Great day in the pits. We gained in the pits. Never lost in the pits. We led every lap. Can't do much more than that. We just had a good day.
Saw too many cautions there at the end, though.
They wouldn't stop coming. I wouldn't. They just wouldn't quit coming. We were hoping they'd quit, and once the thing would go green, we could just drive away. But the first 5 laps after a green are the hardest to ever drive in New Hampshire. It's just hard to get hooked up and spins the rear wheels, and we needed and wanted more green flag running.
Congratulations on a great win. As I said at the top of the show, nobody loves New Hampshire more than Jeff Burton. He proved it today. Here's Mike Hogwood.
Yeah, and we're with a guy who got a good look at him all day long in front of him, Bobby Labonte. What were your thoughts about the race today, Bob?
Well, I mean, we didn't know what to expect once the race started. We got here this weekend with the new rules of the restrictor plate, and, we didn't really know what to expect. I think all the guys worked real hard on all the teams, and our guys worked hard, too. And, we hit upon something that was better than a lot of them today. We finished second.
At New Hampshire under these new rules now.
Well, I mean, this track's tough. It's got its own characteristics. It's hard to pass on anyway, and it's just the way it is. And I think the new rules, I shouldn't be a judge. It's always exciting from my seat, no matter what you do or where you run or what you're doing. But it's not me to judge. So I had a great day. Our team had a great day. The Interstate Batteries Pontiac was great. We had a good run here at New Hampshire, and not one of our better tracks, but not a bad track either. So I'm just glad to do that so we can head on home in good shape.
Great run for the Winston Cup points leader, Bobby Labonte.
And Jeff Burton will gain 15 points on Bobby Labonte, move up to second, 168 down. There you see the finishing order behind Jeff Burton. Jack Roush saw him at the hotel this morning at about 5:45, and the man was heading out to the racetrack, said got a lot of work to do. It paid off. There you see the others. Jimmy Spencer in 15th, Michael Waltrip in 20th. Flat out domination, guys. It's been a while.
It has, and the question that everybody had all day long was, what's the racing going to be like? I thought it was as good a race as you've had here in quite a while. I mean, how can you have it more exciting? Unfortunately, we had the caution right at the end there, but the racing itself was pretty good all day long.
12th win of the year for Ford. And the Bryant Cool driver of the race, Jeff Burton. Want to keep cool or warm up when the temperature so dictates? Call 1-888-999-Bryant. Now the NASCAR Winston Cup points. As we said, Burton will gain 15 on Bobby Labonte in second spot. Jarrett now in third, and Dale Earnhardt in fourth, 201 down. So, been an interesting day. A little history today as Jeff Burton leads every single lap here in New Hampshire. There you see the pit crew of the race, sponsored by Red Wing Shoes, honoring the folks from the Exide Racing team. Well, this is TNN's final race here at New Hampshire. It's appropriate that we leave you with a look back at our first visit here in 1993.
Part of the most competitive motorsports in the world. Ken Squire bidding you welcome to the biggest racing day in New England history.
Rusty's going to come off turn 4 to score his 26th career victory.
I knew. He's trying to get back underneath of him.
Whoa, he does.
might make one observation. It's cloudy today. That's certainly going to be good for the racetrack because yesterday it was coming apart about like O.J. Simpson's alibi, and we were having some problems there. But today it's looking good.
Film at 11.
Ernie Irvan battled back. He's now a quarter mile from capping off that comeback. The fans going wild. Ernie Irvan, he's back in victory lane.
It's amazing that we made it back to victory lane. You know, Daytona was great, but this is where it's all about, the Winston Cup.
Michael, you got a great qualifying effort. How about today?
I'm so fast, I'm not even going to be able to stick around with you.
The train left the station.
He's in trouble.
He's in trouble. Stewart has run out of fuel. Stewart has run out of fuel. Here comes Nemechek. He comes back. He'll take the caution at 298. There'll not be time to get this one going. Joe Nemechek is a first-time winner in NASCAR Winston Cup racing.
I tell you what, this is unbelievable, man. I got to thank God. He was watching over me. I got to thank my brother. We miss him a lot. He was watching over me. That Polish victory lap was for him.
And that brought us to today. TNN's final visit to New Hampshire International Speedway, a history-making visit as Jeff Burton becomes only the second driver in NASCAR history to lead every single lap in a super speedway race, a dominating performance on which we've been so long to the granite state of New Hampshire. We will see you next week in Delaware. But to the Bear family and all the fans of New England, a sincere thank you for your hospitality to TNN over the years. So long, everybody.